Welcome in to Knicks Mail.bag, presented by the Strickland and by betonline.ag and by all of you on our lovely, lovely Patreon. Thank you to all of our patrons. I'm Alex Wolf. I'm editor-in-chief of the Strickland, and I am joined, well, by one of my two co-hosts because they both live very busy social lives and could not be
Oh, I'm just
here.
looking for Zach. Go
Yeah, he'll pop in at some point. Don't worry. But weirdly, thanks to the magic of editing, it will only be in times when you're not here.
ahead.
I don't fully understand how that's going to work, but you guys have your busy social lives. So I'm joined by Warm Perm himself, Matt Weiss. How you
It's
doing?
me. Feeling warm,
Like
What
a
can I
perm?
say? I'm actually feeling kind of chilly. It's
You-
like not that cold tonight, but it feels very cold.
Yeah, it feels very cold in my house too. Probably because we
Mm.
don't turn the heat on very much.
Mm.
But our electric bill is great.
Well,
with
yeah,
our
I don't even have control over my heat, but I also don't have to pay it for that reason. So,
Well, there you go.
yeah,
That's kind of nice.
yeah.
You also need a perm. Your hair is quite curly.
No, I've never needed a perm.
You never
I
will.
don't know what Dallas is talking about.
He thought that
That's
was
a
what
real
your name was.
that's a real
Anyway,
deep cut. Despite the fact that you call me Warm Perm every time, I don't
yeah.
think
Would you prefer I call you Warm Perm or Weiss?
I don't know. They're both pretty bad. But that Dallas asking me if I got a perm because my name is Warm Perm must have been like how many years ago at this point? Because that was one of the first episodes.
One of our first episodes. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've been doing this for 3.5 years, something like that now.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
we're
been a
coming
minute.
up on 100.
100 episodes coming up soon. Yeah, with a substantial break in the middle. So, anyway, let me remind everybody real quick about our friends over at Bet Online. It's playoff time, and the usual suspects are heading to Vegas for the championship. And our partner, Bet Online, is your number one source for football odds, stats, trends, and lines, with everything from point spreads to hundreds of bets on everything from the coin toss to the color of the Gatorade. Bet Online is the number one source for your championship wagering. Head to Bet Online and join today to get into all the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. And your Strickland experience, especially in the Strict Cord, might start on Patreon at patreon.com/the Strickland. So if you're not one of those patrons that I so graciously thanked at the beginning of this episode, then you might want to check it out. So either just go to the strict.land and click on our Patreon tab, or just go direct to the well and go to patreon.com/the Strickland, and you could support us there. And for as little as $6 a month, you can get all kinds of bonus pods. You get the full edition of Friday Pod Strickland. You get Takes from Obvious Bozos, our sort of sister show now with the mail.bag. So that's with Drew and Zach. That's a fun listen. You get to listen to all of our weird experimental pods that we're trying out. We've tried so far an MLB pod and a wrestling pod, and we've maybe got some other ones that we're going to test out and see what works and, give to you guys on Patreon there. Or for $9 a month, you can get exclusive written content, usually from Matthew Miranda, who is one of the most talented and underappreciated writers on the sports writing scene, period. Not even just for the Knicks. And Strick and Roll, Schwinn's other pod. And then we have other tiers ranging anywhere from $15 to a whopping $100 if you feel real generous, where you can help support your favorite creators, which is something that everybody should do. If you listen to stuff and you have a few extra bucks, why pay for that primo Netflix plan? Just lop $5 off that and give us $6. How's that sound?
Just you're putting everyone under a buck.
Whatever. If you
Can
can't,
you afford $1 extra?
if
That's
you
what you have to do.
if you can't get them, one way you just got to guilt them into it and then ask for an extra dollar.
Well, I
Because
was going
why
to
not?
say, I was thinking people, because our show is free, which I don't really think about very often. But, if you're listening to this and wondering how you could ask a question,
You got to do it in the Discord,
yeah,
the Strict Cord, baby. Yeah, that's the only
$6
place
a
we
month.
decided to only take questions from the Strict Cord a little while ago because we're like, you know what? All you bozos on
No, that's the wrong podcast.
yeah, right, takes from obvious bozos,
Yeah,
but you can only give bozo takes on the Strict Cord as well. But
right.
yeah, anyway, we were like, screw X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, and we're only taking it in Discord. So anyway, speaking of, we have a decent number of questions here, and I asked for a mock trade flair to some of these, so there is a bit of a mock trade flair on a few of these questions. So let's just go ahead and get right into our questions here, Matt. And our first one comes to us from Mikey Cooks, and this one's fun. This is Mikey saying, "Let's make you guys do the work." So he says, "I don't know
Good
how
thing
it
I prepared
happens."
for this.
Did you say you came prepared?
No, I'm joking. I did not prepare. That was a sarcastic comment.
Damn. Anyway, Mikey says, "I don't know how it happens, but a trade where Frank and or Knox comes home for the vibes." I feel like the Frank one is not super likely anymore with Terry Rozier gone. Although I will admit that I thought of that and was like, "Oh, what if they could get Frank back in a Terry Rozier trade?" They do have some links to PJ Washington now. The Knicks do. He came up in a Jake Fisher column today as being a guy that the Knicks are potentially interested in. So maybe. But then Knox would require dealing with the Pistons. So I guess that would be if they go for Burks or Bojan Bogdanovic or both, and then throw Knox in there just for shits and giggles. I don't know.
I haven't heard Alec Burks' name in a while, speaking of which. I find that interesting. It was like, it was someone they seemed to be going after for a bit, and haven't heard his name.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just like, I feel like maybe he's like their breaking case of emergency option. Like he's like, if this was a college application process, he's their safety school, like.
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing really well, although you could argue like he was playing a little unsustainable for a bit there, and he probably would be not quite as good. Granted, I also don't want to give Tibbs the option of running him as the bench point guard.
That's what I'm worried about.
Right, because that's also sort of like what the Knicks are looking for. It seems like at this deadline is someone that can play that like bench point guard role. Granted, I guess if he was coming off the bench with like Josh Hart and Deuce McBride, then you could maybe stomach that a bit, because then it could just be like a three-headed monster where they all sort of handle the ball a little bit. I don't know. Like,
I just want to, but the thing is, I want to take the ball out of Josh Hart's hands.
Yeah.
And so if that's the idea, then, I don't know. I like Alec Burks. I just don't really want that to be, look, if it turns out the prices are just too high for all the guys are looking at and they can get Burks for something reasonable and that's the best option, then I won't hate it, but that's not my preference.
Yeah, I think it would just come down to like if they can do like, I don't know, 2 second-round picks and like whatever for Burks to get him on. Is he's still making like, he's kind of making an awkward amount of money too. I guess it would just. I mean,
he's still on his Knicks contract.
Yeah, so like still like $10 million or whatever it was.
11.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could just in theory be like, maybe that would be where Knox would come into play. You would be like, but then Knox would probably get waived on the way in.
Hey, you win Price is Right, 10.49.
Nice. All right. Yeah, pretty good. I mean, yeah, sort of a little bit of both. I mean, it's.
I mean, you could. So look, let's answer Mikey's question.
Yeah.
You could do pretty easily Fournier and a second-round pick for Burks and Knox. Mm-hmm. I don't want Kevin Knox back for the vibes. Even for the vibes, I don't want him back. He sucks. Why would we want him?
Yeah, the vibes with him are just like of disappointment.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Not to be mean to Kevin Knox, but it's just like he represents like the false hope that we had to instill in guys that were clearly not good, that we couldn't admit weren't good until they weren't on the team anymore, because you wanted to still believe for like the longest time. You know what I mean?
I mean, RJ was the final form of that.
But. Yeah, and RJ was the one where you could squint hard enough and be like, no, I see it. I see the vision. Whereas Knox, it was like, man, he was player of the month 2 years ago. like, oh, he'll figure it out eventually. Remember his rookie summer league when he shot 35% but averaged 20 points per game?
Also, Tibbs would hate him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he was the antithesis of Tibbs. Like, he's not a particularly hard worker.
I mean, even Frank, who I love, let's be honest, like, he sucks.
I mean, I still think that he has at least that utility of like, potentially you could throw him in there cold for a defensive possession if you really needed that. They don't need that.
Every one of their guys is a plus defender except for Brunson and Randall.
Yeah. So they have, I mean, they have the defensive guys to kind of absorb that now. So they don't really need that anymore. But like, I don't know, whatever. If you needed it for in garbage time of a game.
I mean, look, you can absorb Frank into the trade exception. So I guess who cares? But
the other thing with Frank is that Frank did always feel more, I don't know, I think the fan base always felt more connected to Frank. So if we're talking about a guy to bring back just for vibes, I think it's
Yeah.
Frank.
Oh, yeah. Between the two, I definitely would go with Frank over Knox for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I floated by the time this is out, our Strickland's trade deadline written roundtable is already out. I floated the idea of if the Knicks are able to go after Alex Caruso and only give up like one of their protected picks to get that deal done, or maybe less if they give up the package that they would have to, which would be they would have to give up because he makes like $9 million. They would have to give up Grimes, Jericho, and Archie Diacono, and that would get it done just pure salary wise. And then whatever pick or whatever, if they go for Caruso is like they got that guy, whatever, and then decide to go for PJ with Fournier's contract, they can bring Frank back that way because then they'd have an extra roster spot.
Well, two things. One, I just don't. I know they did it last year. I do not think they're trading Archie Diacono, which is crazy, but they're not doing it.
I don't think they're going to make him untouchable. I think that he understands it's a business, and everybody understands it's a business.
No. It's not that he's untouchable. I think they really don't want to do it because
I'm sure they don't. Yeah. But if it came down to it and they had to facilitate a deal, they would.
Yeah, but are we? I just don't. I don't know. First of all, I don't like looking at Alex Caruso, so I don't want them to trade for him.
You don't like Caillou? You
don't want to say
Caillou?
I don't like Caillou. No, it's like the headband. I don't know. White guys wearing headbands doesn't work for me. So I don't know. Not a fan. And I know we have a trade with him coming up, but I guess I'll talk more about it then.
Yeah.
And Washington, the reality is the reality. It's just that if they traded for him, I'd be like, fuck, Randall's out for the year.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see a world where he still has a role, though. It would just probably mean fading Precious, which
I don't think they want to do because Precious is Tibbs has unlocked Precious.
Precious is balling out, but I do think that, if you want more scoring presence at that backup 4 spot, you could play PJ. It would just be, if you're going to pick up PJ, Tibbs has to be I'm comfortable playing him some backup 5 minutes.
Which he's not going to do it because
he doesn't rebound well enough.
He's a minus defender, so he's not going to play him.
Yeah, he's maybe on the cusp of having enough rim protection a little bit, even if he's not the best defender in the world, which hopefully he would be helped by playing center more as far as the rim protection, because then it's less having to stay in front of guys and more just having good timing around the rim. But
yeah, but what Tibbs wants from his 5s, and it's can PJ Washington do that? I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm quite frankly amazed that Precious has managed to smash through that ceiling.
Yeah, I know.
Good for him.
He's actually been better at the 4, which is not going to hopefully be that way for too long. But he's working fine at the 5. This is all going to come down to ideally Mitch is back in 2 months, and then Precious is probably limited to a pretty small role when Randall needs to sit, and that's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so no Knox. My answer is no Knox at all. Not even for the vibes. Frank, yeah, obviously I'd take him. I just don't. He wouldn't play because
I would take Frank for the vibes and for the garbage time cheers. That would be fun.
Yeah.
What number would Frank wear? He wouldn't be able to wear 11 anymore.
That's a good question. No, Brunson would change his number.
Can you imagine Brunson's I defer to you, pal?
Yeah, Frank, you're a legend here. I'll become number 21.
I'll switch to number 00 because that's what I am. The eyes of the fans now. I'm a 00 and you're number 11, man. That's it. Oh man.
I don't know, Frank. What number is he with Charlotte? Is he 11?
No, I think he wears a weird number there. I think he's 14 or something.
Oh, that doesn't look right. The immediate picture of him on Google is him in a Knicks jersey, which is pretty funny.
Of course,
he's 20. Oh, he's 21. So
21. Okay.
Oh no, he's 21 with Dallas. Hold on, what is he with the Hornets?
He could be 21 with the Knicks.
Yeah, he can.
That's not occupied anymore. They used to be occupied by Shumpert, and then
it's not.
Someone else had it after Shumpert.
All right, I give up. I don't care.
He wears a weird number with them, though. I remember it from a couple weeks ago.
I don't know why I'm not just run a basketball reference. Hold on.
It's the easiest possible option.
I was trying to find a picture of him like a weirdo. I don't know why it was doing that. All right.
Yeah, boomer tendencies. What are you doing?
That's not even boomer tendencies. That's just idiot tendencies.
Idiot. Boomer.
44.
44. Yeah, I thought it was a weird
I don't like that at all.
No. 21. He can have 21 when he comes back. I think that's good. That's a good number for him. Last occupied by Dotson, maybe? Was he the last number 21?
No, someone had it recently, didn't they?
Now we're going to be looking up another thing live. Hold on. Knicks uniform number history. I'll see if I can get this a little faster than you got the last one. New York Knicks uniform numbers, number 21. Most recent player was, two big names had it. Theo Pinson and Cam Reddish.
Oh, Reddish. I knew it was someone
I
recently.
forgot Reddish had it.
And Pinson, that's right. I mean, Pinson we didn't see play very often, but that's right. Scam.
And it was actually Dotson, Pinson, Dotson again, and then Reddish had it. Yeah, because Dotson had those couple.
I forgot that Dotson came back for like 2 days.
Yeah, that was a fun story.
Yeah,
that was a fun one. All right.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's the answer there. No Knox, yes, Frank.
If you're watching this, completely ignore the fact that my clothes have changed. It means nothing. I'm just, and Zach is here. I don't know how that happened, but Matt couldn't be here for the moment, so they had to kind of like tag in and out. For anyone curious, they're kind of going through a little thing right now. They won't speak to one another. Something about, I don't know, what was it again, Zach? What was it that Matt did that pissed you off?
Something about his mom. Let's just leave it at that.
About his mom? Oh, all right. Yeah. We'll leave it. We'll leave it at that. So yeah. So they're kind of not on speaking terms right now. So I'm mediating. It's fine. But they're both here. Don't worry about it. This is a normal flow of conversation. We're just doing it this way. They didn't have to record on separate nights or anything. Anyway, and hopefully the editing on the audio side makes it sound totally natural, even if it doesn't look natural on the video side. But all right, Zach, what do you think about a trade where Frank or Kevin Knox comes home for the vibes?
I love that Mikey is still on this.
Mikey's the biggest Kevin Knox fan.
I actually deeply respect that Mikey will not give this up. Like, it's really beautiful loyalty, and frankly, Kevin Knox probably owes him part of his salary at this point. I mean, it'd be funny if they did, but no one's ever trading for them, so it'd have to just be like a weird throw-in. But I don't think anyone wants them. They're just not. They're not good. Sorry, I liked both of them when they were on this team. Not even gonna lie, but
yeah, Knox, I made the case is just kind of depressing because he represents like the failures of the past Knicks. Whereas Franco is like, honestly, like if they kind of gut the roster a little bit, like on some trade, and then they could get Frank back. And he could just be like a breaking case of emergency defensive stopper. He could get his little moment where he plays like 20 minutes in a huge blowout kind of thing, whatever. Yeah. That I had more. I was more sad when Frank left than when.
Here's what I'll say: if they did get Frank back and he hit like 2 threes in a game, people would lose their shit, right? Like,
oh, for sure.
MSU would be going crazy.
Is his career high still like 19 points or whatever, or 21 points or whatever it was, that the Wizards game, the mythical Wizards game back in the day? I think that's still his career high. So, I mean, yeah, like I think his career high for threes in a game is like 3 or 4.
So he's turning the corner. He's turning the corner. No, he's not.
Any day now, he's going to turn that corner. I love Frank. I argued it for years, but yeah, he does not have the dog in him, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Let's move to our next question. So this one comes from G Baked. Directed us to a trade that he had put in trade ideas in the Discord and said, I don't know about the picks going where.
Oh, damn.
So this is a very long, so big of a trade that it couldn't fit in one screenshot. Although I might suggest using the extended screenshot feature, unless he's on iPhone. Is that an iPhone thing?
He's on iPhone for sure.
Okay. Can you do that on iPhone? Can you make extended screenshots, or is that an Android only thing?
I think you'd have to you can like combine them.
Yeah.
But you can't just like do it with the screenshot feature.
Oh, that's stupid. On Android, that's like, do you want to select more? I'm like, hell yeah. Then I can select like a novel of a screenshot. Anyway, all right. So this trade is coming to the Knicks, Bojan Bogdanovic and Alex Caruso. So more opportunity to talk about Caillou. Going to the Bulls from the Pistons would be Joe Harris and Killian Hayes, who apparently wants a new home. They also eat the Evan Fournier deal. And then there's a bunch of picks listed here. So there is the Detroit first round pick goes to the Bulls. The Washington, so these are the 2 protected picks, go to the Bulls. Then Detroit's 2025 second round pick goes to the Bulls. Detroit sends a 2026
back to them. Yeah.
first rounder, top 10 protected to the Bulls, which is interesting because I don't know. Can they actually trade that pick because of the protections that are on the one that the Knicks own? Or they would have to lift the protections on that one.
I assume the Knicks would just lift. They're trading the pick anyway. Why wouldn't they just lift the protections?
Well, then I don't think the Knicks can. I think Detroit, because they set the initial protections, has to be the one to, which they would be part of this deal. So they could be like,
no. The Knicks have the pick from Detroit,
right? But
right, yes.
What I'm saying is it's protected all the way out to
they'd be getting it back. They'd lift the protections on their own pick.
No, Detroit's not getting it back. Chicago's getting it in this trade.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then Detroit's sending them a 2026 pick, which would
Okay. So
I think would mean that they would have to lift the restrictions at least
24. Well, how does it roll out the protections? What is
it's
it?
like top 18 this year again, and then I think it's top 14 next year, and then like top 12 or I think it's like top 12, top 10, top 8.
But the point is it can convey in 2026. So then you're right, they can.
Yeah. It might take. I think that pick might take till 2027, if I'm not mistaken, at its longest. So they would have to adjust their protections. But let's just assume, for all intents and purposes, that they do that because now they're like, well, they're both going to Chicago, so who cares?
Yeah.
Or just change the protections around to say that if the one doesn't convey by 2025 or some shit, I don't know, whatever. You can find ways to make that work. Yeah. And then the Knicks send another second round pick to the Bulls. So the Bulls in total get 3 protected first round picks, and Detroit's second next year, and then another Boston or Washington holds rights to swap. So Washington's second round pick in 2026 probably. And then the Pistons get in this deal Zach LaVine, which is their big get that they want. So essentially just give up Killian Hayes, 1 pick, and Bojan Bogdanovic, who's an expiring contract anyway, to get back Zach LaVine for 4 years, who they apparently covet, even though he's out for the rest of the year, and Malachi Flynn from the Knicks to make.
So although my question there is they'd have to separate out Flynn into a separate deal.
Yeah, because he can't be combined. Right?
But I don't know who they'd separate it out into. I guess what they could do. No, I don't know how this works.
Yeah, you might be able to make it work if you.
I guess if you trade Flynn for a pick. So if they trade, they could do this in a very weird way. If they trade Flynn to the Pistons for one of the picks that's going to the Bulls, and the Knicks just reroute that pick immediately to the Bulls, that's probably okay.
That might make it work. And then my only question is,
how do you do that? Because
I was just say, do the Knicks need to send out Flynn for this to work for their outgoing salary?
I kind of feel like the problem is we'd have to put this into Fanspo, and we don't have time to do that.
It does say it on G-Bake's screenshot. It does say it's a success on Fanspo.
Yeah, but I don't think they take into account the 1-for-1 requirement on Fanspo.
They do, actually.
Well, then how the fuck did this happen?
I don't know.
Because they shouldn't have let him put it in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless he just said to lift that,
he might have overridden it because he assumed there was a way to.
Yeah, he might have just
override that, right? So they're.
Anyway, let's just look at this from the perspective of
who cares? Flynn doesn't matter.
So the Knicks give up Fournier and let's say Flynn, but let's say it could for all intents and purposes be like Archie Diacono or something if they're willing to trade him. So it boils down to 2 protected first round picks and then 2 fairly valuable second round picks to get back Bojan Bogdanovic and Alex Caruso. I don't totally hate it, although I would certainly angle to not include 2 first round picks, even if they're those shitty super protected ones. But maybe that's.
And I know there was wasn't there some chatter earlier in the season that Washington pick might actually be pretty valuable. Detroit pick. One of those picks, they were like, actually, that pick might be more valuable than you think.
I just don't see it for either of them because both teams suck.
Both stink. I don't know why, but
if I had to guess which one would maybe be more valuable, i.e., which one maybe would be more likely to actually convey, I would actually say Detroit.
I agree.
I just think they have more baseline talent right now. They just have to figure it out, and if they figure it out, then they'll be.
They've been putting out there that they want to add guys, not subtract. So I don't think Bogdanovic is part of that, but I think they might I could see they're kind of hinting at they might want to make a big trade. I know there was like some weird rumor out there that they might want DeJounte Murray, which would be fucking hilarious if he had to go play on that team.
After wanting to like go to a contender.
Right. Yeah. He wants to go to like the Lakers and then he gets stuck on the Pistons would be very funny.
Yeah. And then like, yeah, their interest in Levine didn't make any sense either. Because did you see the stuff that was being floated about their interest in Levine where it was like, yeah, they'll trade like one of Cade or Duran or like
why
Oscar Thompson. I'm like, why would they do that?
That seems insane.
Like
Thompson especially seems like insane.
I say Cade is the one that seems the most insane. Like that's the engine. Like that's the dude that you hopefully want to build around.
Like I don't know. I feel like he also already getting a little irritated. I mean, I guess if they got Zach LaVine, but Zach LaVine sucks. So what am I talking about? I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure it would end up just like how the Bulls are ending up right now, but still, it's just like, I don't know, talk about like mortgaging your future for being slightly more mid. Like, I don't
get it.
I don't even think Levine has proven that he could be like the floor raiser, like DeJounte Murray, for example. Like Murray, I could almost more understand because he like every year just by being like a Russell Westbrook-ish dude in his own way, or at least when he was with Spurs, that was how it was.
Team like 500-ish,
yeah. He kept them like in the play-in conversation every year. Like at least you get that if you have like a DeJounte Murray, but like, I don't get it otherwise.
I think. I mean, if G-Big was going to give up 2 picks here, I'm glad that he kept the Milwaukee pick. That's definitely the one to keep, because that's going to convey. I mean, that's top 4 protected. They're not going to keep that. Right? Am I wrong about that?
No, yeah, I mean, unless Milwaukee somehow tanks next year, the Knicks are definitely getting that pick. So I mean, it's valuable.
Just we're looking at something. Your reaction made me think I was saying something wrong.
No, I was just starting to read the next question.
Okay. I agree with you. I think I feel like this is a little bit more than they have to pay. Also, like, I don't really like Bogdanovich on this team.
I don't hate it, but you can't be bringing him in expecting him to be a starter or something. Like he would just be the microwave scorer off the bench that spells rhythm.
And like, what's the rotation here? They didn't give up any rotation players in this trade, so you're adding these 2 guys to rotation, which at this very second is fine because they only have like 4 healthy guys. But hopefully OG is not going to be out for too much longer. It seems like Grimes might be a little bit, but like,
you know what I would say actually about this trade that I would change?
Put Grimes in.
I would pull back one of those first-round picks and throw Grimes in instead.
If you're throwing in Grimes, I think you got to pull back both first-round picks. They're low value. They're pretty low value first-round picks. So, which I know kind of defeats the point, but like my point is like I think Grimes is worth both those picks. I don't think that he's only worth one of those picks.
That's true. And I mean, if Chicago gets that, like, what is Chicago really giving up in this deal? They're giving up Caruso.
Yeah.
And they still get a first-round pick back, and they get Quentin Grimes, and they get like other. I mean, was there
no the Bulls are getting Quentin Grimes. Yeah. I get that works a little okay because if we do this trade this exact way, the rotation is let's leave Randall and Mitch out of it for now, but the rotation once hopefully OG and Grimes are healthy is Brunson, Dante, OG, Grimes, Hartenstein, Caruso, McBride, Hart, Bogdanovich, Precious, like that's 10 guys right there, and Tibbs is not going to play 10 guys. So that's why I think you probably do trade Grimes, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like from the perspective of like if you can keep the powder dry for a little longer. The only thing with Bogdanovich, I think isn't he expiring this year? Does he have
they don't want they've been made pretty clear they don't want to trade for an expiring contract.
Yeah, that's my big hang up with him. No, he does have one more year. Okay.
Oh, he does?
He actually has sort of similar to Fournier. It looks like he has a non-guaranteed like team option year.
Oh yeah, 2 years. Yeah.
So 19 million for next year. Okay, so never mind. I'm a little. I'd be more on board with it then because
actually he makes a little bit more than Fournier, right? So that's
very slightly. Yeah.
But hey,
like
that
19 million.
That $100,000 like does make it somewhat of a difference.
Sometimes. Yeah. Depending on the deal.
I mean, I think as much as I don't want to trade Grimes, I kind of agree with you that just for logjam purpose, because like, okay, once Randall's back, now you have 11 guys you need to play. Who the fuck is Tibbs sitting in that scenario?
Yeah, it would be a little difficult.
And then, you know, I don't want to think too hard about Mitch, but like, you know, hopefully Mitch comes back. You probably just bump Precious at that point, but like still, you still have 11 guys who need to play.
What it would come down to is probably like Grimes, Deuce, like assuming that they're all still on the roster, Grimes, Deuce, Precious are the casualties to get you down to 9 again, I think.
Right. For the playoffs, yeah.
Which would suck.
I think maybe he'd play 10 for like the rest of the regular season, but in the playoffs he's playing 9, maybe even. I mean, 9. Like honestly, he's probably with this roster basically playing 8, and then like Deuce is going to play like.
That said, though, honestly, like Brunson, DiVincenzo, OG, Randall, and let's say Hartenstein wins the starting job, and then having fucking Caruso, Hart. I guess you'd still maybe have room for Grimes there.
Well, I think the rotation, let's say Mitch is back, I think the playoff rotation is Brunson's playing like 40 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So Brunson, and then Deuce is probably playing the other 8, and that's all Deuce is playing, just like those 8 minutes that Brunson's sitting. So Deuce is like half rotation spot. And then I think Grimes is probably the other half of that rotation spot and plays like 10 to 12 minutes, and that's it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, I don't know. It's depth is good, but you would run into problems of like guys like Grimes would definitely still be pissed if you.
Yeah, and then like, I mean, this is like not. I don't know. I think I kind of agree with you that as much as I don't want to do it, I might swap Grimes in for those. If they can do it for both first round picks, I wouldn't do it for one. But if they can do it and keep the first round picks, because then you can. I don't actually think it's going to happen, but you know, theoretically, keep the powder dry for Bogdanovich plus like 6 firsts in the summer,
and even use Caruso as part of that too, and just be like that gets you to like 30 million right there, just between those two guys plus a bunch of picks, and then you know try to pull whatever that might come to a painful decision about like maybe having to move Hart or something like that, which I think they would do if there was like a bona fide like megastar available, but. Whatever.
I just don't know. Like, I don't know who that guy is. Like, the Cavs aren't trading Mitchell because even if he tells them he's leaving, they're going to want to just hold on to him and see if they're going to be probably the 3 seed or even the 2 seed. Like, them and the Knicks are probably going to be the 2 and the 3. So, like, Milwaukee is just shit in the bed right now. The Sixers don't have Embiid for possibly the rest of the season. So I don't see Cleveland trading Mitchell in the summer. And he was the guy who might have been available, but I mean, maybe the Sixers say "fuck this" and trade Embiid. I guess that could happen. Honestly,
I don't even know if I want him anymore.
But I don't want him. I was going to say I don't want him.
I'm getting more worried about the injury.
Why would you? Obviously, what I'm about to say is not like I'm exaggerating. I'd rather have Hartenstein.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean,
Embiid obviously when he's healthy and playing is more valuable, but like. Hartenstein is possibly unbelievably, given that Mitch was already doing this, possibly the best defender in the NBA among big men. I mean,
among big men, yeah, you could say among big men. I think that's the needed qualifier there because I think like OG has proven that he's.
No, I mean, unbelievably, they might have the 2 best defensive players. Like OG is definitely the best,
or like 2 of the top 10 for sure. Like, I think there's a good chance of that.
Yeah. I mean, whatever it is, but like they. So my point is like. I don't think Embiid's a better defender than Hartenstein. And like, yes, Embiid is better on offense, but frankly, the Knicks don't need that from that spot as much as I would not mind better offense, obviously, but Hartenstein's good on offense. His passing is so useful. So I don't know. Like the guy for me was always Paul George. Obviously, like I still think that would be great. The Clippers aren't trading him, obviously now, ever. Even with OG, I still think Paul George would be a perfect fit. But I don't know who the guy is anymore. Like I don't want Mitchell, and I don't think he's getting traded, and I don't want Embiid.
Yeah, I don't know either. I guess only time will tell for that. But we got more.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah, we got very sidetracked.
We got more stuff to get into in this one. So Zach, I don't think we need to rehash, because you and Matt aren't talking. I'm sure you heard him though. We don't have to rehash all the machinations that go into this deal potentially happening or not happening. But if the Knicks walk out with Caruso and Bogdanovich at this trade deadline, and that's their take, and it costs them 2 first-round picks and 2 pretty decent second-round picks, how are you feeling after that? Otherwise, really not much. Because the idea here is that it would be like Malachi Flynn, and then just like Evan Fournier. So players-wise, losing nothing, just injecting those guys into the rotation, Caruso and Bogdanovich, but it does kind of deplete the picks a little bit. How would you be feeling?
So, Alex, because I am also not on listening terms with Matt, I'm not sure what the contract situation is for Caruso or Bogdanovich. I can Google it, but I'm sure.
Let me fill you in real quick, because I know you closed your ears whenever he was talking. I understand. So Bogdanovich has, similar to Fournier, from what I can tell, basically a non-guaranteed year next year that the Knicks can pick up for about $19 million.
That's cheap. He's good.
And Caruso makes about $10 million next year. So this does give them like $30 million in tradable salary that they could use going forward.
It's pretty nice. And they're both, they're both good players. I think the real question is, if you're getting both of these guys, do you think both of them are going to play when it matters? And I don't mean as a rotation player. I think obviously they will be in the rotation, but are these guys who are going to be closing playoff games when you're going the last 10 minutes of fourth quarter? Most of the time, there's always games where someone gets hot and you just let it ride, right? Like they're just having the game of their life, whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying if you are calculating your fourth quarter closing lineup right now with your team healthy, are either of these guys playing that line? I think mostly Caruso. I think if anything, it'd be Caruso. And who is he starting? Who's he playing over?
Josh Hart, period. That would be my.
Well, I wouldn't think of Hart as that closer now either.
Right, but Tibbs does think of him as a closer.
Well, yeah. I guess in that sense, and yes. And he's definitely, he's better than Hart. He's also not that good of a shooter, though. I could be wrong.
No, he's good. He shoots.
I don't.
Well, this year he's shooting a career high, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fine. I just don't. He's not he's obviously better than Hart. Hart's been a disaster, but he's definitely not quite. I think some people are really gassing it up.
41% on 4.4 attempts this year, which
4.4 is not that many.
Which that's a pretty good amount of attempps.
For
a guy who plays 27 minutes a game,
he's only playing 26. That's less than I thought.
Yeah. And he only shoots 7.5 shots per game, so over half the shots are three-pointers.
That's probably a good thing.
He's just not high usage, I think.
Yeah.
But the number is there. But he's also he's a 38% 3-point shooter for his career too.
Yeah, on moderate volume, mostly open. I'm guessing nothing.
Probably, but that's all you need him to hit if he's in that Hart role, because that's the whole reason the Heart is not useful sometimes.
Yeah, but I would also guess most of his are from the corner. I'm confident he's not as good of an above the break shooter. It's good. It's good. He'd be a good player, but I don't really think that this is the guy you really push everything in for. And
I don't think it's pushing everything in either. That's the other thing. Is it if you're just spending the Washington protected pick and the Detroit protected pick?
The reality is, if you're giving up those picks, you're not getting Caruso. So if we want to talk about this fake trade, then yeah, obviously. But in reality, you're not going to get him for that, I don't think. And if you're going to have to give up what I expect it's going to take to get him, then I don't know if it's worth it, because I don't know if he's the piece to take you over the top, really. If you're doing something like switching out Randall for a 1A, or I guess 1B, because Brunson is probably the 1A. If you're getting like a big 2, and then you want to add Caruso, then that makes a lot more sense, I think, in terms of asset management.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see, but I think it would be all right. This trade grew on me a little bit the more I looked at it. Although at first I was like, I don't know if that's what I want to do either. But the more I looked at it, the more I was like, they still leave a lot of powder dry, and they have a lot of money then to trade.
Because the trade that the Pistons would not take.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I guess it's like the Pistons would be getting Levine now too, which I think
Levine is a salary dump. Like this is
sort of, yeah. Although they apparently covet him for some reason, but now
contract
he's out
for
for the
like
rest
4
of the year.
years.
Yeah, I don't know. Like they apparently like him though.
Yeah, I'm not that much.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, they're ultimately not giving up a ton. It's like a first-round pick and Killian Hayes, who wants out anyway. So, and Bogdanovich, but like Bogdanovich, whatever. I don't think is super valuable at this point.
The Bulls are getting back salary and 2 garbage picks. Oh, yeah, 2 garbage picks.
3
Right?
garbage picks. They get 3 first-rounders.
3, well, one real first rounder, and even that not conveying now. So
yeah, I guess,
good luck. Good luck on that one.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it, but
Yeah,
at least on a ledger,
true,
all they did was they moved Levine. They got 3 first-round picks back, quote unquote. You know?
And that's why I feel like the Pistons wouldn't. But that's okay. This trade would never happen. But I like the idea. Obviously, you do this every single time. I think this is real, but it's not.
I think so too. So our next question comes to us from our very own Zach, actually, and he wants to know, how would you feel if the Knicks stand pat at the deadline and don't make any moves?
I don't think they can.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I
don't
don't think that's
that
on the table. But let's just assume that they do, because it's not like this hasn't happened before. Like usually the Knicks make like one move and then that's like, okay, we're done.
Right.
And they did that the Reddish year. They did that with Josh Hart last year.
I mean, they already traded for OG.
They've already traded for Anunoby. So, like, in theory, this could – and they did it for Rose. They traded for Rose, and that was it.
Right.
So, every year so far in the Leon Rose regime, they have done
this. It's been one trade. Yeah.
So,
that said, I think there was a chance they were standing pat if Randall didn't get injured and OG didn't get injured and Grimes didn't get injured. But, like, they can't, like, keep running this team out there like this.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to keep winning for the most part. They're going to fucking win tomorrow.
I also think it's irresponsible.
Last night when they will have won last night. I'm predicting now on the pod. You'll hear this
pretty
after
safe
the game.
To say.
But
yeah, pretty safe to say considering
Memphis is like a walking infirmary. So like even more than the Knicks. And then I mean they'll probably fucking lose to the Mavs again on Thursday, which is going to piss me off. But you know it is what it is. But they're going to like beat most teams still. But the fact is like we are really playing with fire. So if OG's not going to be back on Thursday. And I know, like, you don't want to look short term in that way, but you kind of do because, like, Brunson's out there playing 40 minutes a game, and Hart's playing 40 minutes a game, and Precious is playing 40 minutes a game, and you know you've got Deuce playing like 25. Grimes, when he was healthy, was playing 30. Like, it's just you're putting too much of a strain on every single guy in the rotation. So I think maybe as much as all of us wanted to get them to get a backup ball handler, I think it was possible that had they not gotten half the team injured all of a sudden, they would have stood pat at the deadline before, but now they've got to do something. Like that, I would be less pissed and more confused if they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I would be pissed too, because I also just think I've come to the conclusion that I think it would be irresponsible to not turn Fournier's salary into a more useful player now prior to the summer. And even if it costs you one of those like protected first round picks, I think that's more valuable than just like being like, well, all right, well, we didn't trade him, so we'll just pick up his player option for 19 million and just have him be a chunk of useless salary again.
Right.
Like useless salary is fine, I guess, to some teams, but a lot of these teams that you might potentially deal with are going to want to do the like reload, not rebuild thing. Like if Philly decides this summer, fine, we'll trade Joel Embiid, or like if Embiid asks out or whatever, they're going to want to reload, not rebuild. So they're going to want a useful player. And same with like Cleveland, for example, is still going to have Garland and Mobley and all those guys there that are like ready to compete still. So they're not going to be like, oh, fine, Donovan Mitchell wants to force his way out. Okay, just give us, whatever, just salary. We don't care. They're not going to say that. They're going to be like, no, we want players back. Like we want to still compete here. So you're going to give us useful players and some picks for Donovan Mitchell or whatever. And so like whoever that player is that the Knicks might go after over the summer, they got to have someone better in that salary spot. And I think they understand that. If not, I would be like Brock Aller. Like we would need to Photoshop Brock Aller onto the Leon Rose to sleep in the chair meme, because I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
and also I agree with everything you said. And just the other thing that Fournier is like, I know he's complained a little bit, but he's been very like good soldiery. I hate that term, but like he is cheering on the bench every day. He's like, tweeting away how much he loves his teammates, and like he is not whining. If I were him, if they didn't trade me this week, I'd be fucking pissed because now you're stuck doing this again for a third year in a row because they're probably not trading him over the summer unless it's just for a star, which means they're going to hold him until next February. That's fucked up. I think they have to trade him this week.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it also just it puts them behind the 8 ball if they try to make that star trade this coming off season too.
No, you're right. Because this is like the argument in favor of G-Bake's idea, which I'm honestly, the more I think about it, the more I'm coming around on it. If let's say it is for Embiid, which again I would not be happy about, the Sixers can tell themselves we're reloading with Bogdanovich and Caruso versus Fournier. Because
and you still have Maxey, and you still have other guys there that can contribute. Tobias Harris, whatever. Yeah. So if it's for Embiid, or again, if it's for Cleveland, where it's like
same thing, they
can slot Caruso into that starting lineup. Put Bogdanovich in the starting lineup instead of Okoro or whoever they have, Strus, whoever they have starting there right now, and maybe you're in better shape. I don't know.
And I mean, and last thing again for Fournier, like if they trade him now, and let's say they trade him to, I don't know, like we'll go back to G-Bake's trade. They trade him to the Bulls. And the Bulls cut him. They don't want him. He probably signs with Memphis or like the Wizards or something, and he gets to play. I mean, he'll stink, but he'll get to play for a bad team, which is what he wants. So, he doesn't want to play for a bad team, but he wants to play. Understandably.
Yeah.
So,
out of curiosity, if he went to a team and then they don't pick up his $19-ish million option for next year, will he cumulatively make that much more money for the rest of his basketball career? I don't think he will.
I think he would probably end up. If I'm him, I'm just going back to Europe.
That's what I was going to say. I would go overseas. I go play.
And he probably would actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd go play in like the what's the Spanish league?
Oh my God, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. Is it ACB?
ACB,
like
yeah.
Is it the ACB league? Yeah. I'll just go play there. Go play for BC Barcelona or
play for
like Real Madrid or whatever.
Yeah, or he could go back to France and play at home if he wanted to. He'd probably he'd probably make the most money of any player in like whatever they can pay them. Like he'd be like the max in France salary.
Yeah, that's true.
I would imagine. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he does, as long as the Knicks trade him. Like he's just gonna be a free agent in the summer and he'll probably go back.
Or he might take like one last veteran minimum contract next year. Just try to be like, they were wrong about me, and then he'd shoot like 40% from 3 while playing no defense for like Washington, like you said, and then whatever. But either way, to answer Zach's question, I think we're both in agreement. Like confused, a little pissed if they don't do anything, because I think that one more thing just needs to happen, both from an on the court perspective and from an on the books perspective. I think they owe it to themselves to make at least one more move here and use a little bit of draft capital to make that happen if they have to. So Zach, how would you feel if the Knicks stood pat and didn't make any moves at this deadline?
Shouts to other Zach, by the way.
Baby Zach. Yeah.
I still remember your pizza shop story. How would I honestly fine. I don't really feel like they have to. They're in a fantastic position. Right now things are a little weird because of all the injuries. We've actually time traveled a little bit because we can do that here at Strickland. And after this Grizzlies game, things are looking a little dire. I think looks like we're going to lose Brunson for a couple games, and Hart also got injured at one point, although he stayed in the game. That it kind of looked like another sort of knee thing that, like Grimes, he played for the rest, and that's it. They're going to be in a tough spot for the short term, but I think you can't overreact. I think you just get to the All-Star break, and if you can't force it. That's the thing. Like there are, from a lot of this smoke, it seems like teams are really looking for overpays on a lot of these guys. And like, there's no need for that. There's really no need for that. You don't need Malcolm Brogdon. It would be great. You don't need Jordan Clarkson. It would be an incredible fit. He would be so good on this team, but you don't need him. Remember in the playoffs, these guys, the roles shrink. I think Brogdon in that sense is better. And if Portland doesn't want to move him and no one else will, like, if they're saying give us 2 picks, like, okay, fuck off, dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You know, at a certain point, you can't just throw all this stuff out the window.
What does your cat think about this right now? It sounds like he's
Yeah,
knocking
no,
over marbles next to
he's
you.
being a fucking hold on, actually.
No, we're keeping this in. I like this. I love this kind of content.
Well,
I love cat content.
because he's not going to stop. He was also doing it over there. I didn't know if the mic picked that up. That's why I'm getting distracted over and over. I don't even know what he's doing. It's literally just dark over here. I have no idea what he's doing. It's in the cables. It's not good.
I love that your whole setup is just a dungeon too, and you're like, I don't know. He's
Well,
2 feet away from
my
me, but I have
brother
no
is
idea what's
actually here in
happening
the
down
room
there.
with me. I would have a light on, but my brother's staying here. So
Right, I forgot about that. Oh, that's nice of him. I'm glad that he's I'm glad he's allowing you to do this tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy. All right. Anyway, yeah, I think the only thing. So let me just ask your opinion on this because this was part of what Matt and I talked about. That was kind of the only hang up that we had is I could sort of see not doing anything if you're just like, we want to keep the powder dry for later on, like we want to make a bigger move, whatever. But how do you feel about the perspective of our biggest takeaway was you just gotta move Fournier for a productive NBA player, even if you have to combine him with like one of the more protected first round picks and get back someone. Like, I think that should be a priority because
why?
Because you can opt into his salary going into the summer and still just keep him as a salary chunk.
Right.
But like, if your goal is ultimately to go after like a for sure big time superstar, like you can't just go there and be like, hey, the centerpiece of this deal, like salary wise and whatever, is just a lump of salary here. Like, I think you need a real player.
Can't you? Why not?
Because no team, like if the Sixers, for example, are going to trade Joel Embiid, right? Let's just because he's the most obvious name that jumps out. If they say we'll trade you Joel Embiid, Daryl Morey's not going to be like, sure, we'll take Evan Fournier back. He's going to be like, no, I want NBA players back because I want to reload. I don't want to rebuild.
I mean, but do we know that the team that we're going to be trading with wants to reload?
I mean, I feel pretty certain that both. Okay, let's assume it's the two biggest targets that the Knicks have always been linked to, whether it's Joel Embiid or Donovan Mitchell. Embiid is with Philly, who has Maxey, who's run by Daryl Morey, who never likes to rebuild and has explicitly said he won't run a rebuilding team. So there's one. And then two would be Cleveland, who are really good and have already Garland, Mobley, Allen, like this whole core.
Would Cleveland be really good if Donovan Mitchell wasn't there? I don't think so.
Cleveland would still be good, 100%.
I don't.
Before he arrived there, they were a playoff team.
I don't really remember that season too well, but I don't recall that being a very serious team.
They were on the up and up. I mean, they've all gotten better since they got Mitchell. Like,
I mean, but that's in part because he's there, right? Like, all I'm saying is, like, I don't know that either of those teams would be opposed to bottoming out if it came to the point where they have to trade that guy. And I don't know if it's worth forcing the issue now in order to guarantee that. Like, who knows what Daryl Morey is going to be thinking in the year? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe if you move Embiid and Maxey's like, listen, I don't want to be here either.
Yeah.
Like, that's possible. That would be weird. He's very young, but it's possible. And honestly, not even that unreasonable, right? Like, there's nobody else there. That team is in dire straits if Embiid is out. And it very well might be that even Morey might be like, I don't want to be here for this either. You know, there could be like a full house cleaning, and they're like, just send us Fournier. We're trying to clear. We're going to take salary dumps moving forward. We want the cap space, so on and so forth. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I just think Morey wants to see it through there, and he wants to be like correct. You know what I mean? And like, like win one there because he never won one in Houston.
How the fuck are you going to do that without Joel Embiid, though?
I mean, I don't know. Like, if the Knicks could put together a package that's like Randall, Mitch, whoever they get by trading Fournier's salary. So let's just say, for all intents and purposes, it was like Brogdon, even though it seems a little less likely at the time we're recording this. Like, you add those three players in with Maxey and, all the role players there.
Randall, that's the thing. I think you try to get away with not sending Randall.
Sure. I mean, you try, and maybe having a better player allows you to do that. Like, let's say they just go ahead and get like DeJounte Murray or something.
But can't you just do that anyway? Like, why do it now?
Well, because I think that you have teams that are more willing to sell right now. Because
but are they? Because no one's selling shit right now. Like, nothing's been made. No moves have been made. It's been completely dead.
we're recording this on Tuesday night. I bet you anything.
I mean, stuff will happen, but this is like what people are saying, right? Like, I'm not just saying this is what Shams and Woj are saying is that's dead, right? Like there was a report today that it's dead. Maybe it won't play out that way, but like they don't say that every trade deadline, right?
I don't know. I feel like there's been a lot of smoke about various players. And
I mean,
like,
of course, there's always going to be smoke at the deadline, but I don't.
Your cat disagrees. Your cat's telling you to shut up. Oh, giddy. This is the stuff that you only get on YouTube, folks.
Yeah,
if you're listening on audio, you owe it to yourself to go check out YouTube.
You can't Google that.
Can't Google that. Anyway, all right, let's move on from this one. I think we've talked this one out enough. Let's go to our next question here. So this comes from Duder Adam in the Discord, and he wants to know, this would have to be structured as multiple trades to make it work, but this is the gist. And then notes the Bulls 20-30 second that would go to New York as top 55 protected swap. Not likely to convey, and the Bucks protected is the better of the Bucks pick and the Knicks own pick that year. Not sure any of the three teams do this deal, but whatever. All right, let's see what the deal is. So the deal, once again, involves Malachi Flynn. So I'm questioning fanspo a little bit here. But whatever. We'll just assume for whatever reason it works. So Malachi Flynn, Quentin Grimes, and Ryan Arcidiacono, along with the Knicks' unprotected 2024 first-round pick and a swap with the Bulls. At least that's what I'm getting out of here. Yeah, it looks like a swap with the Bulls next year with Milwaukee's. Or no, I'm sorry. They're just the Milwaukee pick. Just as least favorable protected, but I think that's just because 1 to 4 it technically goes to the Pelicans. So I think that's what that
means. Right. Yeah. Yes, that's right.
So the Knicks own pick this year and then the Milwaukee pick next year go to the Bulls. And then the Raptors get Evan Fournier's big contract and 2 second-round picks from the Knicks. And then the Knicks get Bruce Brown from Toronto. They get Alex Caruso from the Bulls. And they get, again, that unlikely to convey second from the Bulls, which I don't know. I don't actually think that would have to come over at that point. I guess the Knicks could push for a heavily protected second if they wanted, but they're already touching the Bull. Like every team is touching each other in the trade based off.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess again, how are we separating out Flynn here?
Yeah, actually, I guess also that protected second round pick, instead of going to the Knicks, would have to go to the Raptors, I think, actually, because every team has to touch each other in a 3-teamer. So that
but again, like I think that Adam did this so that he could separate Flynn out for that pick.
Oh,
but you're right.
Either way, I mean, Toronto and Chicago, if they really wanted to get this deal done, they could just say, fine.
Is there a way to? Oh no, that's why you said it would have to be structured as multiple trades.
Yeah.
I think this is a trade between, like, he's imagining this as separate trades between the Knicks and Bulls and the Knicks and Raptors.
Maybe, or like some of them split up just to make the things work for the cap stuff and whatever. So you could send Malachi just to Chicago.
Although, I think it's Malachi Chicago for the second round pick. And then
Caruso. Chicago and Toronto, if it was officially structured as a 3-teamer, could just be like, okay, you get our top 59 protected second in 2026, and we get your top 59 protected second in 2026 or whatever, and that makes that deal work.
Anyway, I don't think the Raptors are doing this.
No?
It's Brown for Fournier and 2 second-round picks. They're not doing that.
Well, how much better of a market do you think Bruce Brown is going to
do? They want a first-round pick. I think they might get one.
I'm sure they want one. We all want lots of things. I don't know if they're going to get one.
But I said I think they might get one.
Well, from who, though? Who's going to pay that?
The Knicks, honestly, might pay it.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I think the Knicks are angling to just get Brown for like a second or 2 seconds or something.
That'd be great. Look, I would do this. I mean, although this is kind of weird. Like, this is kind of a weird. Getting Brown and Caruso is a little weird, right?
Yeah, a little bit, because I think they're very similar players in what they offer. So you would just be building like Tibbs's wet dream lineup of just like all these like toolsy sort of ball handlers, sort of not dudes that can rebound and, all that stuff and shoot the 3 a bit. Although, isn't Brown shooting really bad this year from 3?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is very much fallen off in that regard. But like Caruso's shooting like career bests and pretty much everything this year, which is good.
And Caruso's big. I mean, like, I think Brown is bigger, but Caruso's taller, which kind of is what Tibbs cares about. So
And Caruso, I mean, I was just talking for Locked On Knicks. I was talking to Locked On Bulls host the other day, and when we were talking about Caruso, he's like, "Oh yeah, they deploy him all the way out to like the 4." So I think he's very like Josh Hardish,
right? Which is what I mean. Tibbs is going to. The thing is, like, yeah, I don't like looking at Alex Caruso. I honestly think he's probably the guy they should get if they can.
Yeah, I mean, my only opposition to Caruso is if he's the only salary that they bring back to replace Evan Fournier, they've done themselves a big disservice as far as like what they can do for a potential star trade down the line.
I gotta say, G-Baked, I think he pulled it off.
Yeah,
I think he pulled it off. Sorry, Adam, I'm not a fan of this one. Just because I don't like Brown and Caruso coming back to the Knicks. I guess the Raptors might do this, but I don't think they'd want to.
This one also involves two firsts.
It's 2
Grimes
firsts for Caruso,
and 2 seconds. So it's pretty steep.
Yeah, oh yeah, wait, we're paying way too much for Caruso, in my opinion. Here, I didn't even look at that.
Yeah, I
like,
think
Grimes. That's Grimes and 2. The thing is, like that Milwaukee. If so, 2025 Milwaukee pick. I don't think Giannis is asking out before then, but like Damian Lillard is doing his best to make Giannis want to leave again.
Well, and Doc Rivers too.
Doc. You're right.
That's a year and change into the Doc Rivers experiment.
Yeah, like it's not impossible that pick is like not a lottery pick, but is like 17, 18. And that's so that's Grimes, the probably 25th, 4th or 5th pick this year from the Knicks, and then maybe the 17th pick from the Bucks in 2 years for Caruso. That's too much.
Yeah, I think
I would not do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would insist on pulling out the Milwaukee pick.
Yeah,
in that deal.
Yeah, I'd trade the Knicks pick. I mean, the Knicks pick this year is going to be useless. I want to keep the Dallas pick, which I think they're going to. If they
I was about to say, you have the Dallas pick, the Knicks pick, so you can afford to give up the Knicks pick this year. Because, what are the chances that the Knicks ever draft 2 rookies in the same class ever
0.
again?
Yeah,
0. It's just never going to happen ever again as long as Tibbs is here. So,
I mean, the Knicks pick might be like 27, 28, honestly.
The way things are going.
Yeah, it's weird to think about the Knicks being that good, but it might be a totally almost second round pick. And the thing is, I think teams are picking up on this lately. When you get above, let's say 25, 26, 27, if it is a 28th pick, a team is going to find 31 or 32 more valuable because it's just a lesser commitment.
I kind of disagree because I think that some teams enjoy getting more team control. It just depends on the player. Like if you feel like you're really taking a dart throw, you might want the 31st pick more.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's a player that you're like Desmond Bane, for example, I'm sure that the Grizzlies were shitting their pants that they got to take him with the 30th pick because it was hell yeah, because now we get him for 4 years and you get a way more favorable structure to keep him on the team. Because the thing with the second round guys is that there's no salary structure for them. So it's way more like Wild West. And then they fall just under the normal rules of the rules are different. So after 4 years, a first round pick becomes a restricted free agent with matching rights. Whereas with a second round pick, like the Knicks ran into with Mitch and the Mavs ran into a Brunson, if you let it get all the way to 4 years, then they just become straight up an unrestricted free agent and shit gets tough for you. So yeah, I think it just depends on the player. And
you're right. I mean, if you have a guy you're targeting for the late first round, he drops you, then yes, you want the team control. Yeah. But if you're you're just going best player available, I don't really give a shit. I think you probably would prefer a second round pick in that scenario. But regardless, I am happy to trade the next first round pick this year because the Mavs pick is going to be in that same range that I was talking about the Bucks, 17 to 20.
Yeah. I think it'll be about 20, which would be sweet.
It's fine. I mean, they've gotten good players at 25, so presumably they'll probably just trade to 25 again since that's their sweet spot.
Speaking of things that the Knicks need to do, they need to make that pick this year. They need to add another rookie scale contract.
I think they know that.
I hope they know that because they need a rookie scale or two on this team.
Also, frankly, I don't think Grimes is going to be on this team in the fall. I don't think they're going to trade him at the deadline, but I think they are trading him over the summer.
Yeah.
Although
I will say, props to them. They did lock Deuce up to essentially a second rookie contract.
They did.
Nice.
Yep.
And it was development. So
very. I mean, they used their leverage well because they knew that he was about to start playing. So he was going to. And I don't think he signed that contract. It's been a month and a half, I don't think he's signing that contract now.
Yeah, probably not.
If it's
Because
on
he'd
the
be like,
table.
nah, I think I can maybe get
He's
more.
shooting 48% from three. Like
over the last month.
I mean, that won't stay out. That won't be stick forever. But like,
even if he sticks at 40%, is just like a small 3-and-D player with a really good wingspan.
Yeah,
not bad.
I mean, that's worth way more than 313, which is what he got. So
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So yeah, Adam, you stink. Your trade is awful. Never talk to us again. Just kidding. We love you.
Good note. All right. So, Zach, this trade, how do you feel about this one versus the other one that we saw from G-Baked? So this one ends with Bruce Brown, Alex Caruso on the Knicks instead of Bojan Bogdanovic and Caruso. But the Knicks, in exchange for getting Bruce Brown back, I guess, and then also like getting Caruso, they end up giving Quentin Grimes up in this deal. They end up giving up their own first-round pick this year, the Milwaukee first-round pick next year, and then 2 second-round picks. The second one, the Indy one, is like pretty highly protected, I think. So that one's just kind of a theoretical pick. And then the Brooklyn second rounder, I think they just own outright for next year. So that's like 2 bona fide firsts that should convey over the next 2 years, and then 2 second round picks. And they end up with Bruce Brown and Alex Caruso. Plus they're giving up Grimes. How do you feel about that?
I like it a little more. Now that when you put it like that, thank you for breaking down the second round picks, because I think the Raptors ultimately would not move Brown just for what is effectively 1 second round pick. But that it's interesting when you look at it from the Bulls' perspective, right? Because they don't want to move Caruso. We know that their front office is like brain dead and wants to win, like some, even though they suck. But if you're bringing in Grimes and 2 picks, and like, yeah, the 2024 Knicks pick is going to be in the 20s, almost certainly. And that Bucks pick is also not going to be great, but like we know the Bulls are about optics. And if you're going to be selling Caruso, it's not like you're going to be selling him to a bad team, right? A bad team doesn't need Caruso. That's not the type of player. So you're going to be getting almost certainly bad picks back. Now, there's obviously exceptions like Oklahoma City. I'm sure could offer up something better than that, potentially, but you're getting Grimes as well, right? So I think that really hits both ends of what Chicago might be looking for. It might also be just Knicks bias, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I also just think this deal favors the Bulls really heavily, giving up Caruso versus the Raptors giving up Brown. And I would put them in pretty similar classes as players. Like, I think that they're very similar. I think Caruso's a little better. Just like I think Caruso's a little better than Josh Hart, but like, I don't know. It seems like, I mean, the Bulls get Grimes and 2 first-round picks for Caruso, whereas the Raptors get a pretty heavily protected second-round pick and an outright second-round pick, and that's it for Bruce Brown. Right. I feel like the Raptors in this case would be like, we need one of those 2 first-round picks. If you're willing to send out 2 first-round picks, like, then we want one of them. And then I don't know. Then what do the Bulls say? Then are they saying,
that pick coming to the Knicks goes to the Raptors instead? That 2030 round 2 pick.
Yeah, I mean that says like more favorable, protected, least favorable.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't matter. This isn't real.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that whole pick is, but yeah, I mean if that goes to Toronto, maybe that changed their mind. But still, that's like
good. Bruce Brown also makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
And Caruso does not. That's the thing. Caruso, $10 million is silly for Alex Caruso.
It is, but like from a Knicks perspective, weirdly, it's almost better to make more money for that future trade. Yeah.
Well, unless you have both of them.
Right. Unless you have both of them. And I mean, I made a case in our roundtable today for like potentially going after Caruso. Like if you're willing to trade, like if things are just over with Grimes and you want to just kind of go all in on this year, like, but also like have some guys that'll be really useful for next year too. Like if you get Caruso for like Grimes, Jericho, and like Archie Diacono and make that deal, then you leave that Fournier salary open and you could still bring in like a $20 million a year player with Fournier's salary plus some picks and like potentially make 2 moves just like this year. I don't hate that idea. Like I like Caruso in that regard, that he makes low enough that the Knicks could trade some of their smaller salaries and aggregate it up to him, which would be nice. But anyway, all right, let's keep things pushing here. All right, our next question comes to us from Jax365, renowned OG hater. in the Discord. And so this one, I'm going to play different than how the question goes, because I think this is aimed at me, but I'm not really interested in doing this. I'm going to make you do it.
Okay.
What do you think Marty or Whack are doing instead of recording a mailbag pod with Alex? So what I'm going to pose to you,
what do I think Zach's doing?
Is yes. Wrong answers only. What is Zach doing tonight?
It is. I mean, I do know what he's doing tonight.
I don't care. Wrong answers only.
No, I know you said wrong answers only. So I'm just saying. The thing is, I'm only pointing this out because I know that Zach has no idea what I'm doing tomorrow, despite the fact that I told you guys. I know you know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Yeah, he definitely didn't check the message.
He did not read that message, and if he did, it went right out the other side of his brain.
Because he immediately suggested that day and was like, "Oh, so we can do Tuesday, right?" Yeah. And you're like, "No, I already said I can't do Tuesday."
Right?
Yeah.
So my point is, I'm just only saying this to lord it over Zach that I'm a better friend because I know what he's doing, and there's zero chance he remembers what I said I was doing tomorrow.
Okay.
Anyway,
well, assuming you didn't know,
tonight he is at a rave, Monday night rave, everyone's favorite, with two guys he met at a bar 3 days ago, who said they definitely knew a good spot. We promised, bro. And Zach was like, fuck it, I'm down. Let's rave on Monday. That's where he is.
Cool. Is he getting his Chipotle before or after?
That's a good question. During.
Is he getting DoorDash?
The rave is at a Chipotle.
What are the how much Molly does Zach take before he grabs the entire thing of guacamole and runs away with it?
Zach, I think he's very under control when he's on Molly, and he's just, what he really wants is just, like, in that case, he like asked them to quadruple wrap the burrito because he's worried it'll slip out of his hands. Okay.
Dude, I don't know why I just thought of this. I just thought of a Chipotle hack that if I was bold enough, I would totally ask them to do. Okay, because they sometimes double wrap the burrito if they screw up while they're rolling it.
Yeah.
What if you could ask them to double wrap it, but with cheese on the second tortilla, and then throw it in the little
you're making like a quesarito.
Make a quesarito at Chipotle.
Oh shit. That does sound like a menu hack. I bet they would do. Like, why would they not do that?
I feel like if I asked nicely, they'd probably be like, "Yeah, all right, we'll try that." Because then that would become like a staff hit. I feel like
that is honestly, Alex. I gotta say that's fucking genius. I thought you were gonna suggest something really stupid, but
I'm glad you think so highly of me. No, Chipotle quesarito, man.
That is very smart. Yeah,
it would be so much better too.
You know, it's gonna be like, because you know how they like people like had the menu hack where they like put the fajita vegetables in the quesadilla, and they were finally just like, fuck it, we'll put that as an option on the menu.
Yeah. Yep.
I want to see that happen. It's like down the road, they'll be like, you could order a quesarito, and it's just like double wrapped with cheese.
I ordered a quesadilla back in the day too, because like they have like a whole separate like press that's like a panini press in the back, and it's like, why would you even have that if you didn't have quesadillas? And people, I think, just put two and two together. And then I'd like read online at that point, because that was like before they had like the app and everything, where you could actually just do it legit.
Yeah.
And someone had been like, secret menu hack, ask for the quesadilla, and I got it like once or twice, and I was like,
honestly, quesadilla is what I get every time I go. When
I usually go burrito bowl, but
I very occasionally. I haven't gotten a burrito bowl since the very first time I went Chipotle. Not that I didn't like it, I just want the tortilla. But
okay, here's another hack: you get a burrito bowl. So the reason
I know, and you get a tortilla on the side. I know,
and then you make like little tacos the whole time.
Yeah,
it's really good. Yeah. You just like rip the tortilla apart and make little tacos.
It's very occasionally I will get a burrito. I used to get tacos actually, but they were too messy.
That's my problem with the burrito. Is like the closest Chipotle to my wife and I is like 30, or not quite 30, but like 20 minutes away. So if we go pick up,
it's so not worth it.
Well, usually it'll be like we'll be out somewhere out that direction.
Oh, okay.
And then if we're like, oh, we don't want to sit here and eat here, like, so we'll just like get it and bring it home.
Got it.
But then by the time you get home, then it's like
cold.
all soggy. Yeah. Shit, it's gross. So that's where the burrito bowl.
The bowl would work better because you can heat that up more easily.
Yeah. Or just, I mean, even if it's like somewhat lukewarm, it still tastes good.
Right. But yeah, the quesadillas are great. That's usually what I get. And then I get like the hot salsa and the sour cream, and I dip it and it's excellent.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm gonna try this quesarito thing next time I go.
You should. I really please tell me what happens when you.
Next time I go and I'm feeling bold, I'm gonna ask for it.
Yeah.
I'm
also, I'm not gonna listen to this. You got to tell me what Zach made up about me.
Okay, I will.
I'm just admitting on the podcast that I don't listen to our podcast, but
I wouldn't want to listen to myself either. I don't blame you. I
did
very rarely do.
The first few times just to make sure I wasn't saying like all the time like a dummy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really hear it too often, so I was like, all right, I don't need to ever listen to this again.
All right, Zach. So now that we've heard what Matt thinks you were doing, that you guys allegedly could not be recording on the same night, although I'm still confirming you guys just are not on speaking terms. You're in the same place right now for all the audio listeners. There's no doubting that. But what do you think that theoretically, if Matt was not here tonight, what do you think he's doing instead of recording a podcast with us?
Maybe reading some comics. Feel like that feels right. Maybe crying himself to sleep. That also feels a little right. More likely, if I'm being honest, probably just playing volleyball. Really boring. Probably losing at volleyball, if we're also being honest. But you can leave that part out.
No, that's actually really good because you know what? He got a little high and mighty and was like, he was like, I know exactly what Zach's doing tonight because I listen. And I bet you he doesn't know what I'm actually doing. And you just nailed it. That is what he's actually doing. He is actually playing volleyball. So
and he definitely lost. And I don't know that, but if I'm right, then I think I win. Right?
I think technically speaking, that makes Matt a bad friend now. Because he assumed you wouldn't know.
True. See?
So I think
never
you win.
Believes in me, bro.
That was easy. That Staples easy button. You win. Good stuff.
Wow. We got to ask him a few TBD. We'll fill you guys in one day.
All right, let's go to our next question. This is another one from Jax365, who wants to know, what do you think Rich Paul and Leon Rose discussed at their sit-down lunch?
I feel like he wants a silly answer, but I don't know. I
think they discussed just their whole beef, I think, stems from LeBron because Leon represented LeBron early in his career. And then there's like some contention about like once LeBron and Rich Paul decide to start clutch. And then And then Rich also worked at CAA for a little while because he got put on by LeBron and Leon.
What happened was Leon represented LeBron, and then this is how I think it happened. Leon represented LeBron, and then they started Clutch, but then like Clutch was part of CAA originally, and so Rich and Leon represented LeBron together, but then Rich and LeBron decided to spin Clutch off of CAA. And not spin off because that's a financial term, but they decided to like separate Clutch from CA and then that's when Leon and Wes like got pissed at Rich because they took LeBron away from CA.
So I mean the whole thing stems from LeBron. I think they probably talked about LeBron possibly coming to the Knicks. I really do think that was the thing they talked about.
I still think that's not impossible over the summer.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, all they have to do is draft Bronny. And that's a guaranteed ticket, especially if it's the Knicks. Like he'll take mid-level money then, I think.
And frankly, if they is Bronny going to be worth the 20th pick? Probably not. But I wouldn't. If they did that just because it meant getting LeBron, I don't give a shit.
If they used some of the future picks to trade up to 12 to get him, if they had an inkling that that's where he was going to go, I would fully support it. And honestly, I don't give a shit if LeBron comes and then the Knicks win and it's like a mercenary championship.
God,
I just want a goddamn championship.
The people
I want to watch one championship team of one of my teams in my lifetime.
Well, I have luckily seen that, but
you like the Giants.
The Giants. I've seen the Giants win 2 championships. But it's been it's been over 10 years. Not that that's so horrible, but the Giants last won in 2012, so it's been a while.
And we've never seen an orange and blue team win.
We've never seen an orange and blue team, and I'm pretty satisfied about where the Mets are at, but I don't think they're winning the World Series anytime soon. Anyway, so there was a whole discussion in the Discord the other day. I don't know if you saw it about would you be okay if the Knicks won the championship if it meant that LeBron was going to get all the credit? I literally couldn't get 2 shits if LeBron got all the credit.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm not going to get the credit if LeBron's not here. What's the difference? I'm not losing anything.
Also, the idea that there would be no narrative spun about Brunson being like the OG star in New York that lured LeBron over,
It would be
and
Randall,
like
probably.
the hero that
Or
he
do you
would
think
be.
Randall's gone in this scenario?
Maybe there's a world where they can keep Randall during.
I don't think they would have to get rid of him. Like I think if LeBron comes, he's probably opting out and just signing here.
Yeah, which would be, the Knicks get Bronny, and then he would be like, I know LeBron said no more pay cuts for the rest of his career, but he would probably be like, fine, I'll take the mid-level.
Yeah,
Whatever. I just want to play with my kid.
Right.
And
I think that's bullshit. Who's he not like? Then he's not leaving the Lakers, and he just is because I don't know who the fuck is trading for him.
The other thing is the Knicks, if they have that like, whatever DeJounte Murray salary or
okay, so let's say they have
Brogdon or whatever, they could sign and trade with the Lakers.
Let's
say
they have Bogdanovich, and Caruso, right?
Then they could work out like a $35 million a year contract for LeBron or something.
Yeah, let me do some quick math. Where's that trade? So Bogdanovich and Caruso add up to
about 29 million.
29 next year. Yeah, what's 29 times 125? Yeah, they could do about 36 million for LeBron.
Yeah, that's what
I think he would probably not complain about that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think he'd be fine with that. And then, the Lakers would be amicable to that too, because then that means they would just be like, okay, we can like do our own version of like reload, not rebuild.
I mean, if Grimes doesn't go out in this, if they do the G-Bake deal without trading Grimes, you do Grimes, Caruso, and Bogdanovich, you get LeBron pretty close to his max salary at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's ways to.
What is Grimes making? Like 8 million, something like that?
No, not even. He's
7.
I think by next year it'll be like 4 or 5.
Oh yeah. I guess he's just so.
Because he was a late pick.
Yeah, next year he's making 4.2. So hold on.
I'm really good at this shit. Huh?
It would be 30. Let's call it 34 times 1.25. That's 42. Like, I think if you can give LeBron 42 million, he's not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm taking a pay cut."
Yeah. He would be like, "That's fine." I think that would be good enough. Yeah. So, and the Lakers would do that 100 times out of 100 because they'd be
that's a good deal for them, honestly.
Yeah, they'd be like, "We get that many players back just to send LeBron to your team, so you could play."
I would definitely do that. Caruso, Bogdanovich, and Grimes for LeBron. Yeah, I definitely do that. I mean, that starting Jesus fucking Christ, that starting lineup would be Brunson, LeBron at shooting guard, which is very funny. OG, Randall, and Hartenstein. And then, because
Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, Mitch off the bench. Deuce.
The bench is Deuce, and you don't even need a backup point guard because LeBron and Brunson, you just stagger LeBron and Brunson,
and then you get Bronny playing in there for the vibes at the end of games.
I don't actually know if I think Bronny's good, but sure.
Prez kind of sold me on him because I was like, "Oh, is Bronny even a first round pick anymore?" And he's like, "Bro, look him up." I was like, "I don't know, his stats aren't very good." But I guess eye test wise, he still passes.
For now, I always trust Prez, but I don't start watching basketball until next month. College basketball, right? Not actual basketball. I promise I'm watching the next.
I haven't watched a single Knicks game this whole year.
College basketball until next month.
I only watch box scores.
I actually just look at DRAPM every day, and
I look at the DRAPM leaderboard and the EPM leaderboard.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I think Hartenstein is the best player in the NBA.
Okay, Doug. All right.
Anyway, so I think I would want look, if they had to give up Randall for LeBron, I guess I'd do it, but I don't really want to.
Yeah.
And if they could do it without, that would be fucking insane. I mean, that team is like, who's beating that team ever?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's barring some catastrophic string of injury luck, that's such a deep and talented team that's 100% championship team. Like if they can make,
you can even weather in the biggest honestly is like convincing Tibbs to. What'd you say?
I didn't say anything.
What'd you say?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I heard the word happen while I was talking.
Nope. I don't think so.
Weird. Okay. Anyway, the biggest thing would be Tibbs. Like, is Tibbs gonna? I mean, LeBron will probably tell him I'm not fucking playing tonight. Because Tibbs has to not get LeBron injured would be my biggest concern.
Yeah, but LeBron also plays a ridiculous minute load when he does play. Tibbs would just have to be amicable to the load management stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like LeBron is probably just going to tell him, like, "No, we're playing Memphis tonight. I'm not playing," and they're just going to have to do that. Anyway, we got very sidetracked. But I do think they discussed LeBron, and they probably discussed DeJounte Murray. I don't really think at this point that's happening for the Knicks. They probably discussed Brogdon, although I don't know if you saw that report that Brogdon doesn't want to leave Portland for some weird fucking reason. So
yeah, I don't get it. I feel valued here. It's like, bro, it's a tanking team.
They stink.
Aim higher.
Yeah. What are you doing? You left. You were just on the Celtics.
Yeah. But then he also said he's like the Celtics brought it. He was a 6th man of the year last year, and he's like, the Celtics didn't appreciate me. It's like, what?
Yeah,
like
they literally
big role on a team with real
stole
ambition.
an award from Emmanuel quickly for you, and they didn't. You're saying they didn't appreciate you.
They used their fucking Boston media mafia to steal an award for you from Emmanuel quickly.
Yeah.
Like, stop complaining.
We shouldn't even want you because of that, but we still do.
But we still do.
Although I think like the tides are kind of turning, because I saw a few people saying this today. Like, I just don't know. Like, Brogdon is, if speaking of injuries, like Brogdon is not the least injury prone.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I think DeJounte's coming to the Knicks.
You really still think it's happening?
I'm feeling more resolute in it for whatever reason.
You think you're going to be doing a Locked On Knicks on like Thursday saying the Knicks traded for DeJounte Murray?
I think I might be doing it on Wednesday. I feel like they're going to pull the trigger.
That is honestly wild to me. Like, I'm on board for that, but I do not believe that at all. That's crazy.
I just think you look at the objectively at what the offers have been, like, and that proposed Lakers offer is absolute garbage.
Oh,
and
it's
the Knicks
terrible.
could beat that in a second. And I think that they're just playing out like what's going to end up happening, because apparently, like, if you read like Mike Scotto's thing from like 2 weeks ago, it was like, oh, things stalled out because the Knicks were willing to do Fournier, Grimes, and 1 first-round pick. And then Atlanta kept being like, well, we want a second one. Yeah. So I think what's going to ultimately end up happening is it's going to be Fournier, Grimes, the Knicks first-round pick for this year, so they still retain that Mavericks pick to get to make a pick. And then instead of one of the protected firsts, they're gonna talk them down to just take Detroit's second next year, and that's like a first-round pick again.
How do you feel about that?
If that's the deal,
yeah.
Oh, I love it. I'm all about it.
I want DeJounte. I just like. I mean, look, this year's first-round pick is essentially useless on Knicks because they're not going to use it. So I guess you can kind of think of it like Fournier, Grimes in the second, but I was really hoping not to trade Grimes for DeJounte.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, though. I mean, if that's just,
I don't think the Knicks would do this. I think I would rather do Fournier this year's next pick. Definitely not trading the Dallas pick, but Fournier this year's next pick, and then one of the protecteds and Detroit's second.
Yeah. I mean,
I think I'd rather do that. I don't
just
think
like where does Grimes play then, though? That's the issue. It's like you're just going to piss him off more. Like, that's it.
But I think the thing is, I think you then trade him, and like this is still a scenario where you're trading him and DeJounte in the summer. So like that's another $4.5 million to add to DeJounte's salary.
A little more salary filler to make things work.
But again, I think the Knicks just would prefer to like have every pick available to trade. I mean, their pick doesn't factor into that because it doesn't fucking matter. And neither really the Dallas pick doesn't factor in either because they're just going to use it. But I don't know. I really don't. That is interesting. I mean, I think the thing is I'm going to be pissed if the Lakers get DeJounte for garbage because I'm just sick of things falling in their laps.
Yeah. Well, another thing that would stoke those LeBron flames is if the Lakers are not able to pull that deal off for garbage, because I feel like because of how Rich Paul operates with trying to get guys to LeBron's team, if they like throw in the towel on that and say, nah, you know what, go to the Knicks instead. Yeah. It's going to be like, that's a little interesting.
I mean, you could, the thing is, okay, I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat. This is what they talked about at the lunch. Knicks are getting DeJounte. Rich Paul basically says, look, Lakers can't offer it. Like the Hawks aren't going to do it. LeBron's fucking pissed. He wants DeJounte. He's not going to get him. So I want you to go get DeJounte. And if you do, I will engineer LeBron for DeJounte in the summer.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And then you can sell that to DeJounte and be like, well, you get to be the face of the Los Angeles Lakers with Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and it's basically like Rich Paul basically says, look, do what Tibbs asks you for fucking 30 games.
Mm-hmm.
Be the backup point guard. You're gonna like fucking come off the bench, which
Possibly.
I don't think that'll happen. But goddamn, they can't mess with that starting lineup. Well, I think the thing is he'll be starting, at least until OG's back. But come off the bench or start, but mostly play with the bench. Just fucking do it. Honestly, the Knicks might make the finals in that scenario. So, go back to playing defense, shoot some threes, run the offense. You're going to get to run the offense for a good chunk of the game whenever Brunson sits. And then in the summer, you get to play with AD next year. Like that's the deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it happen. I would not be surprised if that was the case.
I could see if anybody would do that shit, it would be Leon and Rich Paul.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like if they have their minds linked up,
right?
If they're like willing to like put on their hats together and figure that out, they can absolutely figure that out.
Yeah,
they're the two most diabolical agents in the history of the
for
NBA,
sure.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt they can make that shit happen.
I mean, I would love that shit. Like if that's what the plan was, I would be thrilled. But
I would love that
because if that's the plan, DeJounte is going to buy in for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
because Rich is basically going to say like, if you fuck around there, the Lakers aren't going to do it, and then you're stuck being the backup point guard on the Knicks for the next 3 years. So,
and then he would also say like, you get to go from the arguably number 1 media market to the arguably 1A media market. Like you're going to be,
and he'll be like the Lakers. I mean, I know AD will be the star, but like he'll be like the star because he'll be running the show. So
I mean, he could certainly be the guy that puts up more stats and shit too.
Right.
Like he could be the one that's a little more of like the super duper star kind of guy.
Just haven't thought about this. If they do, I think it's very interesting that you think they're getting DeJounte. I haven't. That's been out off my radar for like a month.
I don't. It's pure inkling to me, but I just think the progression, and then I'll wrap this up because we only have a few more questions left. We're already an hour, 10 minutes in. So we've seen how things have gone with like the DeJounte saga so far, where like first it comes out in like December, where they're like, the Knicks are interested in DeJounte, but how could it ever get done? Like because Clutch, they don't like the Knicks because of CAA, and like Leon and Worldwide West have beef with Rich Paul and blah, 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 blah. And like, so like if this is ever going to happen, there has to be like a burying of the hatchet. And like props to Stephen Bondi actually at the Post. Like he's been like very plugged in on this whole thing this whole time. Like he had that initial story, I think, and then Begley also had a report on it around then. Just being like talking about the whole drama around the whole thing and whatever. And then like the interest and whatever. And it was like, oh, the Knicks are interested, the Knicks are in on Murray, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it goes away because it's like, well, obviously they didn't make peace with each other, so it's not going to happen. And then now all of a sudden we're getting like Bondi has the report again this week of Rich Paul met, when the Lakers were coming in town, Rich Paul meets with Leon Rose and Worldwide West, and they sort of bury the hatchet a week before the trade deadline. It reeks of DeJounte coming to the Knicks to me. And
also, here's the other thing.
Yeah.
That Scott, which I forgot about, that Scott report. Here's how I see that. Because the Knicks don't leak, right? The Hawks leak all over the fucking place. The Hawks leak that, obviously, because they want someone to beat it. Which means the best offer on the table right now
is the Knicks offer. Yep. I think it's going to happen. I
mean, my point is like, if you think about it that way, which is probably the right way to think about it, it's going to happen because nobody's beating that offer. And frankly, it might just happen at that offer. It might just be Fournier Grimes the next pick this year.
Yep. I would not be surprised if that ends up being it. But that's just why I'm just like of the belief that it's like there's too much smoke for there not to be fire at this point, at least to my eye. So I don't know, maybe I'll be proven.
What's DeJounte's salary?
He makes like 19 million this year, but there's a trade kicker which brings him up to like 22. But I think it still works for Fournier straight up. It definitely works with Fournier and Grimes.
That's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about.
But then next year it goes up. It goes up into like the 30s because he signed that big extension.
Oh right,
Atlanta.
Yeah.
So that's also super useful for the Knicks and also super useful for a potential LeBron pursuit or something too.
So next year it's 25.
Oh, is it only 25?
Yeah, it goes 25.
By the end, it goes up to like
6.5. It's over 30 in the last year.
Yeah. Okay. So I was mistaken
But
about
it's,
where
I
it
mean, it's
started.
25 times 1.25 is 31. So like,
Yeah.
you can
Ar-
still
Already starts getting you into territory where you could start talking about that LeBron sign and trade if that is indeed
right.
in the cards.
You can. I
So
mean, if LeBron would like, if LeBron will take 30, you can make it work for
absolutely.
DeJounte for LeBron straight up.
Yeah.
Or you could put Flynn in there and get
Mhm.
another $2.5 million out of it.
Well, you can't because Flynn is expiring the end of this year because he's in his first
Oh,
year of
right.
Strickland.
Yeah.
But
I
you
would
could
not.
possibly
Okay.
do
So
you could do like
that's a
Sims
good
though.
point.
Sims will
You
give you
could
a
do
few extra
Sims.
dollars.
That's a good point. Here's another indicator. If they also trade Flynn for a similar contract with another year on it,
Hmm.
that's
That could for sure be a sign, like a
that's
tinfoil
suspicious.
hat moment.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have plenty of time to talk about potential LeBron.
Yeah, I know. We got this is.
So this is the
But
trade deadline, not the summer one.
I
We
mean,
got a summer
that's
one.
interesting that you think they're getting DeJounte. I'm buying into it based on your argument now.
We'll see if I'm right, but I
Yeah.
don't know. It just seems like there's been too much of a
I think if
progression
you
of the
read the tea
reporting.
leaves, you can see
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And it matches how things usually go with the Knicks, where it's just little nuggets of info here and there. So Zach, what do you think first off that Rich Paul and Leon Rose discussed at their sit down lunch, and how do you feel about the conspiracy theory that you could at least hear me saying, but couldn't hear Matt talking about because you guys aren't on speaking or listening terms right now?
What did they discuss? Honestly, it has to be some of this beef, right? Like I'm not really too familiar. I don't really follow this element of it. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I know that people.
Well, had you listened, you would have known, the beef. So let me just give you the cliff notes. More or less, like Leon was LeBron's agent when he first came in to the league, and then Rich Paul kind of joined in as like an apprentice. Worldwide West was kind of always around and like always there, whatever. And he was kind of a confidant for LeBron early on or whatever, because he was just a confidant for like every player in the early to mid 2000s. And then eventually, when Rich Paul decided, like Clutch was initially like part of CAA, I think, and then like spun off of
Okay.
CAA and turned into its own company.
Okay.
And then that's sort of where the rift came in,
Sure.
because like CAA didn't like that Clutch went
Okay.
off and did business for themselves, and LeBron left with them. Obviously, probably their biggest client that they could ever
Sure.
hope to have.
Okay. Sounds like that meeting does actually mean something. Then it could be. I mean, the question is that on behalf of other Clutch clients, or is it on behalf of LeBron, or perhaps even both, as theorized by a very smart person? So I would love to hear I would kill for the ability to hear what they said. I also think, regardless, like obviously it's impossible for us to know, but the fact that this is so close to the trade deadline, like, is not nothing. Like that, like this could have happened at any time. Why would you have this during the season, right? Like they're both busy. They're both doing plenty of shit during the season, I'm sure. If this was a conversation that was not time sensitive, it would not be happening now. So what could possibly be time sensitive? We'll let Alex and his conspiracy theories take the lead on that one.
All right. Well, I think we've discussed that all we need to then, because we certainly talked enough about the conspiracy theory. Anyway, all right. So we got the same question from two people. So Villain X wants to know, and Franklin Chubb wants to know. Villain X phrased it, what do you think Leon and Rich Paul both ordered for lunch? Franklin Chubb said, what do you think they ate? Let's make this as quick as possible. What do you think they ate?
Leon, okay, we got to think about where they went. I'm guessing they went to
a steakhouse or something.
Like a steakhouse.
Yeah.
Leon. Let's be honest. Leon's fucking ginormous. He got the porterhouse. And they ordered like a bunch of sides for the table, but Leon ate most of them.
Yeah, probably.
Rich is a pretty small guy. He's like probably trying to eat well. We know Adele is very health conscious, so like, he's probably pretty aware of what he's eating. What?
Are they still together?
Aren't they married?
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were just like dating. I don't keep up with that shit.
I think they're married.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, sweet.
What happened with her? Yeah, they got married.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, so I think that Rich got a fillet, much smaller cut.
Okay.
And a salad.
What did Worldwide West get?
I think West wasn't there, and I'll tell you why.
I think he's the guy that they need to bury the hatchet with, though.
Yes, but I think that's why he wasn't there.
Oh, okay. So, like, just Leon did the talking for him. And was just like, you don't have to worry about Wes anymore. Just talk to me.
Basically,
kind of
Leon was like, look, we'll get it done, the two of us.
Yeah.
And, Wes is just too volatile. So he was like, Wes, this works right. We can get LeBron. Let's just play along. And Wes said, fine, but I'm not sitting down with him.
I think Wes crashed halfway through. And just like that story that came out, like
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where someone wrote that like big story with all the weird anecdotes when he first signed with the Knicks. He definitely came in and was like, "Play my song, play my song."
Yeah.
And the one where it's Jay-Z as the line, where he's like, "Shout out to Worldwide West, everywhere I go, leave a worldwide mess."
Yeah.
Just played that and then just like stared down Rich Paul and then just left. Didn't order anything. He just wants.
I also think they wanted it to be a one-on-one, like man-to-man. They're like, we need to hash this out.
Heads of the families.
No one else is here. Yeah, that's right. Meeting of the heads of families. That's right.
Yeah. Very Tony and Phil Leotardo kind of shit.
What do you think they ordered?
I'm kind of with you. I definitely think Leon ordered a big old steak, and like one where they're like, "Are you sure that's usually for two?" He's like, "No, I'm hungry, dude." The tomahawk or something. Offered a piece to Rich, but really was like, I just want this tomahawk, bro. And then Rich probably got like the fillet with like some asparagus on the side. Maybe ate like half of the mashed potatoes that came with it because he's trying to watch his carb intake.
Right, that's right.
He seems pretty health conscious.
Yeah.
So Zach, the other important question: what did those two eat for lunch?
I do not care even a little bit and have no idea who they are as people, and therefore can't even make a joke about it.
It's very on brand that Matt and I actually had like real answers that we were like, yeah, I definitely buy this. Oh yeah, a steak, a big steak for Leon because he's kind of a little overweight, whatever, blah blah. And you're just like, I don't give a flying.
Because only fat people eat steaks, right?
I mean, I ate one tonight, so leave that up to you. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's move to our next question. And this one, I think we could be pretty brief on too. Vivek wants to know, is the Jalen and Josh podcast the best thing since sliced bread? We can't say yet because
we haven't heard it. What? I don't know.
It's a great idea, though. I think it will be entertaining because every time that they're like on a different show, like there was that thing the other day where Brunson was on some show, and then
I don't even know who it was. I don't remember who it was with anymore. But
like he just called up Josh Hart, and like their banter is hilarious. So it'll definitely be funny.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it will be funny. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to listen to it because I just don't have room for more podcasts in my rotation. But I'm sure it'll be funny. But it has to come out till Thursday. So
yeah, I'll listen to some episodes. Maybe I'll definitely check out the pilot.
I'm sure I'll see tweets with clips of the funniest stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll just watch those clips.
The aggregators got our back, including our own aggregators at Strickland.
That's right.
Zach, best in the
game. Yeah, I was gonna say Zach, get on it, and not whack.
Not whack. No, other Zach. The productive Zach.
Don't get anywhere near it.
No, don't let whack anywhere near it. Whack will just be like turn it existential or some shit. All right. So last question comes to us from Franklin Chubb. And Franklin Chubb wants to know, how would you rank the last 4 Knicks seasons? This requires you to predict and project the end of this season.
So we're doing 2021.
So 2020 to 21. 21 to 22 is obviously number 4.
Yes.
So then it's just a matter of ranking the other 3.
Yeah. I would say this one's number 1.
I think it's going to end up number 1 for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's saying predict this season. Like, this is number 1. I don't
Unless
know how
the season ends in a first round exit, this season will be better.
Honestly, even if it does, like, it would end in a first round exit because there are just so many injuries that it would, like, I don't know. This has just been so fucking fun that I don't know if I'll care. Like, there's no way. Okay, I guess I'll eat my words if they're like healthy and somehow flame out in the first round, and then it won't be number 1. But like, I think it's very unlikely that they go into the first round healthy, playing the fucking like Pacers or Magic or whatever, and don't just stomp the shit out of them.
Yeah. I think
so I'm not really worried about that. If they're hurt, like if Randall's doesn't come back, if Mitch doesn't come back,
then there's just
OG is still compromised. Like, yeah, they might lose, and that would suck. But I don't actually know if it would ruin the season for me, because it would just be like, that's really unfortunate, but nothing we could have done about
it. Yeah. Okay, so if we assume that this season is number one, which I think we could probably just say at this point, I'm gonna make a case for 20 to 21 as number 2.
That was what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I just think because of how unexpected it was. Also, it came at a time when everybody really needed that nice jolt, like coming out of like quarantine phase of COVID, the crowd slowly coming back, like seeing when there would be like 200 fans in the building chanting their asses off, like for the Knicks, and like then it slowly just got more and more and more, and then finally you get that final crescendo where like they have the full building for the beginning of the playoffs, and even if things didn't go well,
the series sucked. It did,
but the rest of it was so worth it. It was just so fun.
We didn't expect them to make the playoffs that year. Randall, like, I mean, we're now used to Randall being frustrating, but like that was like a revelation. I mean, we were talking about. I will never forget that I said on this podcast, right before that season started, that I thought they should just stretch Randall, wave and stretch. I mean, and then he won. He was all the NBA. Like, that's unbelievable. I think the chalk answer is last year is number 2, but yeah, I think just because of the situation and the vibes and whatever, like objectively, obviously last year was a better year. The team was better. They won a playoff series. Brunson was on the team. But I think just for like just, like you said, for all the reasons you said, I would actually also put 2021 at number 2.
Yeah. I just think it's like where we were as a fan base and as a society, that season was just more needed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, last year was pretty needed too, I guess, considering how bad 21 to 22 was.
It was, yeah.
But it also, I mean, you knew that there was like more coming. Whereas like now, like with the 20 to 21 season, it almost had that feeling of like 12, 13, where you were like, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen after this.
Well, also we didn't think they were ready to make the leap yet.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas this
team, they weren't. I mean, that's why they sucked in 21, 22, because they weren't ready to make the leap yet.
And I think like by virtue of having this season at number 1, it leaves you the option to say, hey, the good vibe season can be number 2, because we knew like last year was objectively a better team than 20 to 21, but also like 20 to 21 just felt more special.
And we're ignoring a lot of like Elfrid Payton it was fucking annoying.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There was some really annoying tip shit.
Yeah.
There was some annoying tip shit for sure.
Yeah.
And getting Jalen Brunson has been the ultimate cure to most.
But we have it covered by this year. So
So Zach, assuming you didn't listen to either of us, because I'm now starting to think that maybe you're not listening to me too. I don't know if we have beef also. Hopefully we can hash it out after the show. But how would you rank the last 4 Knicks seasons? So, which is projecting through the end of this season. But so that would include this season, obviously last season where they made the second round of the playoffs. I feel like I don't have to know what your number 4 is, because it's almost definitely going to be the 21 to 22 season where they suck. And then of course the we hear 20 to 21 season where they lost in the first round.
This is actually a little tougher than I initially. I first thought it was obviously 21-22, right? Where we had, I think we could call that the Beyblade season, right? Where it was just spinning around, throwing the ball out of bounds, and that was really like awful. And I think was just a miserable experience and a huge letdown. So that's pretty clear. But between 2020 and 2021 and 22-23, I think it's actually closer, because it's less about the results and it's more about like the time that it happened, right? Like I remember that playoff game against the Hawks, the only one that they won vividly, because that was in the middle of the pandemic. And that was like a horrible period of time, and was also the first playoff win since 2012, right? Right. Right. Like that's, and even though it didn't go anywhere, like the OB alley-oop, right? Like the transition dunk, I guess, whatever, the block and then dunk at MSG was fucking dope as shit. And I'll never forget that. And like, as fun as the Cavs win was and how awesome it was, there was no real like defining moment like that in my mind. Like there's not really a flashbulb memory quite like that. even though it was awesome, that was just like they were just destroying a team and completely manhandled them. And then the Heat series was fucking miserable to watch. Like that was not fun. Even though overall it was a great year, right? So like, of course, it's always tainted by the end, which is not really fair, but is human nature. So on that, I think I think I'd still take last season a little bit more because there's such a surprise and we have Brunson and all this stuff just coming together. But it's a little closer than I thought.
Yeah, Matt and I both want. So we put this year's on top because I think this year
for sure
wins out as of right now.
Although
and it feels like it should.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, short of them being full strength and still like losing in the first round or something, I can't see this season being worse than any of them. And it's been so fun. Like this past January by itself is almost enough to make this the best season.
Yeah, true.
Bar none. But we actually both edged out the 20 to 21 season over last year just because of the COVID factor. And like, I don't know. I was like, that was just kind of like what everyone needed at that time.
Yeah,
like especially New York. Like New York got hit so fucking hard by COVID and everything. And like the gradual buildup of like no fans and then like a handful of fans.
True.
And then like a half full building. And then finally, by the time you hit the crescendo of the playoffs and it's the full building, and regardless if they fucking lost or not, it was just like so entertaining to see the Garden like that crazy again and like feel sort of normal again. It was very cool. So.
That was also the birth of Fuck Trae Young, right?
Yeah, it was.
Iconic.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wait, we have a whoa. What the fuck? Oh my God. I thought you guys
I didn't want to, I wasn't planning on interrupting, but I just got home after volleyball. I'm still wearing my volleyball shirt.
Wait, did you win?
No, I don't want to talk about it. Brunson is hurt.
And he freezes. This is perfect.
Wait, Brunson's hurt?
Yeah. He sprained his ankle. It probably isn't that bad, but he's definitely out for a couple games.
Okay, so you know why we're laughing? I'm so excited that this gets to go in now. So we just did the question a minute ago of what was Matt doing tonight that he couldn't podcast? And you were so sure yesterday. You were like, oh, Zach doesn't fucking pay attention to anything. He's not going to know what I was doing. But I know exactly what he was doing tonight, but I will make his like fake night, whatever. But he's going to say some bullshit tomorrow. Zach tried to make some bullshit up and then was like, I don't know. I mean, he's probably just playing volleyball and he's probably losing.
Fuck you.
This is a triumph of my life.
That's really annoying.
Yeah. So not only did Brunson tweak his ankle, but Zach also owned you. He is the better friend. And I said, in fact, this makes you the worst friend now because you assumed you wouldn't know.
I don't agree.
Well, of course you wouldn't agree because you're the one being ruled against.
Matt, there's nothing you can do. I'm sorry.
You can't lawyer your way out of this one, pal.
Yeah, I already won.
I can pop out and let you guys finish up. I just didn't actually believe that Brunson got injured, and I had to ask.
Oh no, and Josh Hart got injured too.
What?
OS. He finished the game, but he hurt his knee for sure.
I can't help but laugh.
Bro, so they're gonna start they're gonna be in the. It's ironic that they played the Grizzlies because they're gonna be doing the same shit on Thursday night.
I mean, they're gonna actually have to trade for literally DeJounte now, where they have to.
No, Ryan Arcidiacono is going to be the backup point guard now. Well, excuse me, backup small forward.
Dude, Jacob Toppin's going to get some minutes.
Oh, yeah, we got some.
I mean, they didn't make any trades while I was gone, right? I haven't checked Twitter. And
no trades yet.
So, I mean, seriously, and then I actually will go and let you guys finish up. But, I really think they have to trade for DeJounte.
I mean, they have to so that they can sign and trade him for LeBron.
No, of course. But
yeah.
Did you tell Zach your theory yet?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah, I told him.
You're not in, Zach?
No, I have no idea. Literally, it was Alex explaining everything to me.
Yeah. And then he was like, I don't know how any of that works. Whatever. I agree.
All right. I'll let you guys finish up. I don't want to make this be.
All right. Well, I'm really glad you guys are on speaking terms again, at least for a moment. But you guys could go back to hating each other now for the bit, for the rest of the show.
Oh, was that the bit?
The bit is that I've been saying that you guys aren't on speaking terms, and so I'm acting as the intermediary between you two. So,
all right. Well, I love you, Zach. We don't hate each other, and We'll be on the same podcast in 2 weeks.
So much love, Matt.
All right, bye. All right. Now let's go back to pretending you guys hate each other again. Okay, wait. Actually, Matt, come back. Stay here. We just got to the new questions, so these ones weren't available.
Oh shit!
When you and Zach weren't on speaking terms up until now, so now we have these other questions that came in throughout the course of recording. So, like, you guys are cool enough with each other that now we can answer questions together.
I think we can do that.
Even though you think Zach's a shitty friend and thought that he wouldn't know you were playing volleyball and losing.
Okay, here's the thing about that. He guessed. Even though I said I was playing volleyball tonight. He was like,
you did, and he definitely didn't know that. He did just say, "I bet he's playing volleyball." So he definitely didn't pay attention to the message. Where
that's because I read it and incorporated it into my brain, but not consciously. So that's what memory is, kind of. So
I don't know. Memory is me being like, I know that Zach said his brother was here.
Matt sounds like 60% of the women I've been on dates with in the last.
I also sound like 60% of the women I've been on dates with.
It's osmosis, bro. This is the same thing. You're doing the same thing. You're right. Incredible. It's
well, because you're like, Zach, are you dating anyone else?
We're gonna talk about this.
Preach. I gotta get out of here.
You know what's funny is my real answer is I'm probably the one that pays the least amount of attention. And if you guys say you can't do it, I always just go, these guys are probably on fucking dates again.
I'm not.
They're always on
goddamn
dates.
I mean, so actually, I have, which, I have dates the rest of the fucking week. Last night was my free night.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I'm in like a first date rotation right now.
You know what's funny? I know what you mean. I don't do it quite like that, but I know exactly.
Well, because to explain to Alex what I mean, and the listeners, I guess I don't really care about them. I'm just kidding, guys. I was like seeing someone going along, and it ended. So now I've got to go on a bunch of first dates and like find a new person to start seeing.
This is really going along so nicely before you bombed in here, and now we've gone completely off the rails again.
That's why I didn't want to, I wasn't going to stay because I knew I'd take it off the rails. All right, Zach wanted to go to bed, and I was like, I'm not going to, but we have new questions, so I have no questions.
All right, let's get into questions, and we can keep these somewhat brief, but these are new ones, and there's some good ones here. So let's, this first one, we can make it pretty quick. Just make your elevator pitch. Who's the worst guest you would most like to see Schwinn on a pod with?
Wait, can I start? Because I don't want to answer a question. I just want to pose a couple of questions to you guys, which is, what does this question actually mean? Because what is the worst guest, like the worst person that will make an entertaining conversation? Is that the point? Or is it like the worst conversation, therefore the worst guest?
I take it as just the most.
See, stumped.
The way I read it is someone we do not like, but that we would like to see Schwinn yell at for 2 hours.
Yeah. So I've got my answer. I'm going to say it because I already said it to Zach, and I don't want it to get potentially stolen. Although I don't think he would. Maybe you would, though, Matt. I don't know.
Wait. Let me say it and then see if I'm
going to
Ooh, that's fun.
My answer is Berman.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Berman's a great podcast, to be completely honest.
Well, no. Berman's a nice guy, but Schwinn fucking hates him.
Yeah, it's true.
So that would be excellent. He would I don't think Schwinn would be nice to him. I think he'd be very mean, and Berman would just take it because Berman's so nice.
Berman would just be like, okay.
Yeah.
Love the show, man. Thanks for having me.
And then he texts Alex and be like, never let me go. Never do that to me again, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, he's never spoken to me like that before.
Well, he would that time because he'd rub off. Anyway, who were you going to say?
I was going to say Jason Whitlock. I think would be hilarious.
Oh, but that's not, okay.
That's not Nick specific, but I think it would be a hilarious guest for Schwinn to have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just morbidly hilarious. It'd be so funny. Schwinn could call him a fat bastard, just like Stephen A did.
It would be so mean to him.
Oh, he'd be like, you fat bastard, piece of shit, wearing fucking fedora again, you piece of garbage.
On that note, Stephen A.
Stephen A would be funny. Stephen A would be funny, but they would feed off each other's energy, and then at the end they would merge like a Power Rangers villain or something. They would just turn into a super version.
They'd amalgamate into something we can't control.
Right. I think Schwinn would be like, I actually like Stephen A after that podcast was over.
Pretty much.
Anyway, go ahead, Zach.
Oh no, that's it. I'm good.
You're not answering?
So you just want
I don't know enough personalities.
You don't fuck you.
I don't know enough people to possibly pick one person.
I don't even have friends, man.
Well, it's a good thing you have us at least.
Wait, did you tell him what I said he did last night?
No, because honestly, I forgot.
Okay. Terrible friend. Alex is over here.
No, other way, dude.
No, Alex is over here for me.
Wait, it's different for each of us?
Yeah, I guess.
No.
I love that you guys are trying to point to me and you're just pointing at each other.
Am I pointing at him now?
I'm in the middle. Am I not in the middle?
You are in the middle, but when you look at it in terms of like where your fingers were, like you're pointing like on your screen, I feel like, at who you think you're pointing at. Like I'm pointing at you right now. And now you're pointing at me.
But like I'm looking at the screen, not at my finger, and like it's pointing towards you.
No, it's pointing towards Zach right now. I don't know. Maybe it's different on your screen.
Thank you for using your eyes.
Anyway, Zach, I said that Alex helped me along with this a little bit. The end result was you're at a rave at Chipotle with two guys you met at a bar on Friday night who said they knew a really good rave on Monday night.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I didn't say it was bad. I said that's where you were.
Yeah, that would be fucking awesome. Chipotle is Tuesday night. But you're close. I like Chipotle tonight.
All right, let's move to our next question. This one is more basketball-y. I forgot to mention that the last question came from Franklin Chubb. This other question also comes from Franklin Chubb in the Discord. If you have to get rid of Mitch to keep iHeart next season because we don't want to tie up that much salary at the center spot, which of them do you choose? So it's, I think this actually means it said get rid of Mitch to keep iHeart. I think it's if you have to do one or the other, get rid of Mitch or okay, to keep iHeart. So it's just like
what he said, right? One or the other.
So like you re-sign iHeart and then you have to trade Mitch just because they insist on not spending that much. So yeah, so Zach, who would you choose between iHeart and Mitch?
It's iHeart for sure. Health, versatility. Frankly, some of the rebounding numbers are now coming into question a little bit with Mitch because Hart is doing the exact same thing. Like maybe not exact, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but like this guy's been on a rebounding tear. Like, how do we explain this? I'm just saying we need to have a conversation. Hart is, I think the better player, and the flexibility. I think a better player outright, and also flexibility in lineups, tactics, things like that. I don't think there's much of a choice, honestly.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. Unfortunately, I love Mitch to death, but
hard.
I mean, if you put a gun to my head and you're like the Knicks can only keep one of the two, you gotta trade Mitch. Unfortunately, it sucks. But
although, hey, Mitch is coming back.
Yeah.
It seems like he's coming back this season.
I love the idea of having both of them, to be completely honest.
They should keep both. Yeah.
And I don't think I keep seeing people like every time I talk about this on like Locked on Knicks or something, there's always some fucking comment that's like, oh, but they're like iHeart's playing like a starter now. He won't take that sitting down, like he's gonna want blah blah. No, I think if you just pay him fairly, he and Mitch are literally best friends. Like they love each other. Like they have like the cutest bromance on this team since IQ and Obi. Like they're not going to get pissed at each other. They like up each other all the time. Like they're always just like, hey, like I love Mitch. I love iHeart, whatever. Yeah. Like there wouldn't be drama there.
Also, iHeart's not the one who has sacrifice. Unfortunately for Mitch, he's the one going to the bench. Like iHeart's not going back to the bench. There's no way.
At least he shouldn't.
Yeah. I don't think Tibbs would do that. It just like doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Especially as Mitch is like working himself back into shape.
Right. Especially this year. Maybe next year he'll like start with Mitch starting again because that's like, the incumbent. But
yeah,
I don't think
those situations where Mitch starts games and then iHeart closes them. Ironically, like sort of the reverse of what Mitch had going on like early in his career.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement. I think iHeart is the move there. If you're just gun to your head, have to pick one or the other. All right. That was a response to the question. All right. Next question comes from Jax365 wants to know what instance of propaganda for an NBA team was the best from an NBA insider, and which one was the worst? If you can't think of an example from the NBA, you could choose from the MLB, NFL, NHL, or football, soccer.
Only one comes to mind. I think we're all thinking the same thing for worst, right? Can we say it at the same time?
Sure.
3, 2, 1. Gutted and rudderless.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't even thinking of that. I just want to hear what you were
I was
thinking.
like, what's he gonna say? I'm glad that Alex, we both were just like, let's just let Zach say it because we don't know what he's gonna say. God. No, you're right. That's the answer.
That is
honestly, that might be the pinnacle of like in the NBA. This isn't even Knicks centric.
That fucking sucked.
Yeah, that was insane. That was an insane thing to say.
Yeah.
So funny.
And the entire level of discourse around that whole thing.
Yeah.
Was just like,
well,
I mean, that was just like the like perfect, like, you know, cherry on top moment of, you know, Woj just being like, this coach that sucks. And if I actually knew basketball, doesn't know how to drop a play, like, and it's just basically a hype man, is clearly infallible. And it's the roster's problem. And I mean, granted, it was proven after, well, no, I was going to say, like, it was proven after that the roster wasn't fantastic, but Mike Miller got like really good basketball.
Well, Randall, something we don't talk about a lot is Randall played a lot better as the rest of that season.
After Mike Miller.
And we just didn't see, it didn't really feel like the results were there until the next year because that was the whole season. But like, Fizdale, he sucks. Oh my God.
So basically what you're saying is the Knicks owe everything to Mike Miller.
He was pretty good.
Dude, I liked Mike Miller. I liked him a lot. I really wanted them to give him a stronger consideration to be the actual coach.
It just, you knew that like Rose was never not going to hire Tibbs, but I agree with you. I was kind of hoping they would.
Yeah, I wanted him to have a real shot, and I wanted him to hopefully stay around as like an assistant because he's good.
But it's kind of hard if you're him to like go back to your previous role.
He was too sweet for this town. Like he was such a nice like Midwestern dude. Like just coming into New York and having to deal with being the fucking head coach of the Knicks all of a sudden. Like that wasn't fair to him. he's in a better spot now. He's like on Washington's bench.
Yeah,
like, whatever. That's fine. All right. Is there any other propagandas that we want to throw out there?
Not for I can't think of any. Like that. Zach's is right. That's a good one.
I think that is the best one.
Yeah.
That was wow. Really hit that out of the park, Zach. Good job.
Got him.
All right. Jax365 also wants to know, with the World Cup final in 2026 at MetLife Stadium, how do you think the European mind will comprehend it? For what it's worth, beautiful New Jersey, right in the middle of the fucking swamp, in between all the industry.
The best part is there is no way to get directly from New York to MetLife on public transit.
Yeah,
you have to, because the bus doesn't go there anymore. You have to transfer in Secaucus.
Yeah. So they're gonna have to experience Secaucus too, which is Secaucus though. Not bad.
No, but it's like I've done it for Giants games. It's fucking impossible.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to navigate through there.
Yeah.
Like there's just like they somehow like don't have that many tracks and yet have too many, and like it's never clear where you're supposed to go. Like I'm just lucky that most of the time I'm just taking it to Penn Station. So I'm just like I drive because it's more convenient for me to just like drive most of the way. So I drive to Secaucus, park there. Because especially if it's for like a game or whatever, you only have to pay like $10 if you get in after 5 p.m. or whatever. And so then I'll park there. I'll get on my train, and it's always off track 2 to go to Penn Station. Like it's super easy from Jersey.
Well, and also like those Penn Station trains are up on the second level, and the MetLife ones are on the first level. So like you're not even interacting with those people if there's something going on.
Yeah. So like it's just I don't know. Yeah, it is hilarious. It's gonna be so funny how many people are gonna like miss that game.
Parking's actually not terrible at MetLife, but like everything else is awful.
Yeah. I mean the stadium itself is fine. I think it's a little
it's a tar. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean it's a little boring. Yeah.
Also I know this is like off topic slightly, but you know they're putting in grass because soccer they can't play on turf.
That's funny.
But they're removing the grass after the World Cup final and putting turf right fucking back like assholes.
They should just keep that for
they already because they think it's going to cost too much to maintain the grass.
But
what if Giants owners?
What if Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles again in his age 45 season?
I mean, like that, but like you're joking, but there are more injuries. The Giants and Jets get injured constantly. And everyone's like, "Oh no, why? It's because of the fucking turf. Like they play on turf."
I mean, there's turf like pretty much everywhere, but there's also
a lot of stadiums have grass. A lot of football stadiums have grass.
Yeah, turf's not great. It's pretty shitty. It's way more slick is the main thing. Like it's just way more likely that your fucking leg is going to go out from under you and buckle while you're getting fucking.
But luckily, soccer does not it's against FIFA rules to play on turf, so they have to put grass in.
Also, like the cruel irony about like the whole like maintenance thing is that really, if they were keeping up with how often the turf needs to be like turned over and like replaced, it would be probably more maintenance to just mowing the fucking lawn.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
Or like replacing divots or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, like replacing divots, like mowing the lawn, whatever. Like, realistically, like with how much shit gets done on like MetLife Stadium or whatever, like you're supposed to replace that shit like minimum once a year. Like, and they don't replace it every single year, I don't think. So stupid. Anyway, Zach, any strong takes on what Europeans are going to do in New Jersey?
Their heads are going to explode.
Yeah. They could try some really good pizza if they branch out a little bit, though.
Yeah, there's a tomorrow and
to go really far from MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, not that far. You drive an hour into the country, you can find some real good pizza.
Did you say an hour?
Yeah, like in New Jersey.
Oh my God.
Just go into fucking New York. What are you talking about?
I'm trying to say New Jersey is better pizza because it does. New Jersey.
I mean, New Jersey. Yeah, I prefer New Jersey pizza, but like New York, why would you go?
This is embarrassing.
Go somewhere in New Jersey.
How did neither of you guys enjoy my?
You can go see Snooki. You know, whatever.
It's so sad.
I'm really stuck on the fact that you both ignored my joke.
I want to take all the Europeans to Seaside. That's what I want to do. It'll be during the summer, right?
Yeah, July.
Yeah, take them to the trashiest beach in New Jersey. Just
what was the joke? It was that there's if they want good pizza, there's a Sbarro in Secaucus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there you go. But that's Michael Scott's favorite.
Yeah, right. That's what I was going for.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Gonna go get me a New York slut. All right. Anyway. All right. Last question comes to us from Villain X. Will Tibbs be the head coach next season?
Yes.
I'm kind of tired of answering this question, to be completely honest.
Can I read you guys something real quick? So sorting by point differential, do you know what spot the Knicks are in the NBA right now?
For the whole season?
Fourth.
For the whole season.
Fourth
or fifth. Yeah.
So do you think the team who is the fifth best team by point differential, when their point differential has been going through the roof in the month of January, is going to fire their coach? What?
I think so. Villain X asked this at 9:20. Is that like?
Oh yeah, no, I know. They won the game, by the way.
Yeah, but they were up like 40, weren't they?
It was, I think, 33 maximum, something like that.
I got to my game at halftime, and they were up like 70 to 46 at halftime, something like that.
I watched the game. It was
they won by like 20 in the end.
They won by 10.
10? Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I didn't watch the game.
I saw they won by 10, and I was like, what the fuck happened? And then the headline was Brunson injured. I'm like, what the fuck? That's why I had to jump on.
And now we got a better podcast for it.
Yeah.
So, sometimes a good thing.
Anyway, no, they're not firing Tibbs.
So anyway, Tibbs Coach of the Year? Yes. By the way, Zach will mention Tibbs for Coach of the Year. You think anyone talking about firing Tibbs is out of their mind?
I mean, at this point? I kind of think
be real. Like, what? I don't know what more people want.
Let's fire the guy who won Coach of the Year twice with one team.
Yeah,
if he wins this year, which I think he actually has a pretty good chance of doing.
No, I think Dagnall is going to win it this year.
Oh yeah, the Thunder.
Dagnall stuff.
All this stuff is dumb anyway. No one has any idea what coaches do, even in the media, and therefore this is all just about narratives. And can we just accept that? Like, I don't.
Yeah. No, it is. But like the Thunder were not supposed to be this good.
No, exactly.
So
but that's where I go as the coach.
Yeah. I think the absolute earliest that Tibbs would possibly be fired as Knicks coach would be if they get healthy and lose in the first round this year. He won't get fired.
No.
But then they're going to make whatever their big move is going to be this coming summer. And then if he gets like bounced in the first round again next year, then that's it. Then he's done. Because then they're going to be like, well, okay, now we need to maximize this window here.
None of that is going to happen.
I still don't know what the big move is, but we don't need to rehash that discussion.
If it's Embiid or something, I don't know, whatever, whatever it may be.
Embiid, no thank you.
Yeah.
I'm doing a Tibbs rant next time. I'm tired of shit.
Bank it.
But I'm too literally tired right now.
Same. I'm also very tired.
Good. I'm looking forward to the podcast. I'll make sure we record together next time.
Tease the people. I gotcha.
All right. This has been, I'm re-recording the outro because it's the opportunity. This has been episode, what was it again? 91 of Knicks Mail.bag.
You said you would remember without me.
I did. I just wanted to confirm. I said 91, didn't I? What
I
is it?
never want to hear
91?
shit about not remembering anything
Yeah.
ever again. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Yesterday.
I'm just shitting on people's memories.
Yeah. This has been episode 91 of Knicks Mail.bag. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back in approximately 2 weeks to maybe talk about a trade the Knicks made or something. I don't know. Hopefully, well, I guess that'll be like the All-Star break. So we'll see what kind of shape they're in by that time and see if everybody's calling for Tibbs to get fired for losing with a G League team. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, till next time, thank you all for listening. Thank you for being here for the beautiful reuniting of two good friends live in front of your eyes. Until next time, thank you all for listening. Peace out.